That Hedberg is like the best. It's like such a good piece of art too.
Are we rolling? Here, grab your grab your mic.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever see him live?
No. I was in high school when he died, but
oh really?
How old was 32.
God, you're young as shit.
No, but like that was. I've only had 2 like celebrity deaths who I never met that fucked me up. Hedberg and then Rowdy Piper.
Rowdy Piper.
I just thought he was so funny. I thought he was getting so good at fucking comedy. You know, did you ever see him on like It's Always Sunny?
No, can I tell you what's crazy?
He's really funny.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers,
thanks for coming
absolutely,
over. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I did a open mic, not an open mic, but a show with Rowdy Piper that I think Don Barris was producing, and they were like, "Hey, it's storytelling. Can you come and tell a story?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Do you want to run your story by me?" And I was like, "Oh no, it'll be fine. No one's going to tell the same story I have. I have pretty outrageous stories."
Sure.
And they're like, "Okay." And so I get there, and I'm going to tell the story of fighting a bear. And Rowdy Piper goes up in front of me, and he's like, "I fought a bear one time." And I was like, "That's my opening line." And he told the story of fighting a bear who drank Jack Daniels.
Okay.
And it was such a great fucking story that I went up and I was like, I don't know what story I'm going to tell now. Mm-hmm. But and he told it fantastically. He was getting good at stand-up.
Yeah, he's awesome. I was bummed.
Yeah. He was, but were you the age that got to see him in his prime?
I mean, I loved him wrestling for sure. I have like a slightly similar story about like feeling real positive and then getting fucking blindsided.
What's that?
It was, I hate to talk about SNL too much, but this is exactly the same story of me being like, I got it. So for the first episode I'm ever going to be on that show, I have an idea to pitch. You go into Lauren's office, you pitch. And I was like fucking 32 new people that year.
How old were you when this was happening?
27. And the host was Tina Fey. And I was like, okay. And my pitch was like, I teach Tina Fey how the show works. Just quick, easy joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great. I got it. And then Lauren goes like, Kenward, who's a producer on the show, he goes first, and Kenward goes, "New guys teach Tina how the show works." So he took my joke.
Yeah.
And I'm about to talk to the whole crowd. I blacked out. I don't remember what I said.
Oh, for real?
I don't remember. I have no idea what I pitched.
Oh,
it was like my world ended. I was like, oh no.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I didn't do as well as you did with the bear thing.
Good God. What was that? I
didn't mean to, but I'm just saying like exact same thing. It was like, I got it. And somebody's like, the exact same idea? What?
Well, I think that's, it's like the things in our life that get us to the dance, and then the things in our lives that keep us dancing, and then the things in our lives that we want to make sure that we are remembered for when we leave the dance.
For sure.
Like for me, it's always like my thing that I always wanted to overcome was the Rolling Stone article. I wanted to be bigger than the Rolling Stone article. I actually, this is going to sound super silly, I wanted no attachment to Van Wilder.
Yeah, I want no attachment to Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, and but in a weird way, it's the thing that gets you to the dance.
100%. That's why I can have no ill things to ever say about it.
Yeah, and I have nothing ill to say. People are like, "Why didn't you sue?" And I was like, because first of all, I had nothing to do with the fucking movie. I didn't write the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
These other dudes wrote the movie. And everything from that point out is hearsay because I'm only telling stories I've heard people tell me. I'm not telling. No one's ever come to me going. I mean, one person did. A couple people did actually, but no one's ever been like, "Hey man, we owe you a lot of money."
Sure.
So and I go. I say to people, "Hey, I'd like to be." Like, don't bring up, like when we did a press tour for my special, it was like, bring up the Russian mob story. I'll tell the Russian mob story all day.
Yeah.
Don't bring up Van Wilder because I have no attachment to it. And I can't, I've never even seen the fucking movie. And I love Ryan Reynolds.
You've never seen it?
No.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
I mean, I've seen it. I like it, but like, I can't watch Saturday Night Live because it's like a girlfriend, like who I'm like, I know she's alive, but it's fine if I don't know anything about her,
Yeah.
I just don't need to know about it.
But it's one of the interesting stories about you is, and I think all of us in LA were like, when you popped up I remember one night you popped up and everyone was like, "Oh, this is the guy who he got fired. Oh, he just got fired. Oh,
sure."
And part of the thing is, and you know this, everyone wants those SNL guys to fail in a weird way.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I got it. I was just doing the alt scene, just goofing around, just being real weird. I'd never even featured, but I was like, just like classic dumb Montreal story of like went to Montreal, did great. had submitted for SNL like 2 years before, and they're like, "This is weird. You didn't do any impressions. This is just this bat shit." It was just, like the note we got back was like that. My manager got back was like, "This is the most like this is the weirdest submission we've gotten in like a decade." So they were like, "No." Yeah. But then they saw me do stand up. They're like, "Oh, he's not out of his fucking mind." Yeah. So then it got hard to write. But either way, yeah, no. Then you just come. Then I came back and I'm like, I'm going to talk about it and make fun of it.
How was it? Not, I don't really care much about the experience. I think everyone's ultimately got similar experiences at SNL.
Everyone has the same, like, it wasn't that fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how was when I got let go from Travel Channel, the morning, the morning, like the morning of a friend passing,
sure,
was almost unbearable for the first month.
Yeah. I just like went hard into stand up. I went like, fuck you.
You just leaned into self-help, like, I'm not letting this beat me.
Yeah, I toured for like 7 months straight and then put out my first album. And I was like, there, proof I'm funny. That's what I did.
It was almost like like when you get cheated on, you go out to the bars and you're like, I am fucking everyone.
Sure. Yeah. It was just like I have to, that show, I felt like I was on less, like the weird part was like when I was on that show, I felt like I was on less television than I would have been off that show. Cause like things were going so well.
Yeah.
With this, like, I was like 26 after Montreal, like meeting with everyone, and it was so dope. It was great. And then they brought me on SNL and I was barely ever on it. And I was like, I would be on more TV off of this fucking show.
Because the opportunities were probably...
They were awesome. Yeah. And I remember they wouldn't let me do a half hour. Comedy Central was like, do you want to do a half hour? And one of my my writing partner was Michael Che. And they were like, no to Brooks, yes to Che. Because Che was just writing on the show. He wasn't in the show.
Yeah.
And I guess I get that because they're like, you should be focused on the show. I'm like, I fucking am, but like, let me on TV.
That makes sense because they want all your jokes.
Well, no, it's not even that. They were like, it would look bad if you were doing a different show. It's fine if you're right here and do stand up, but you shouldn't be, focused on two different things. And I'm like, I'm not getting on. Just let me on something.
Do you still talk to Che?
All the time. Still one of my really great friends.
I've never met that guy.
He's the best. He's the coolest, nicest, down to earth dude ever.
Really?
Yeah.
He seems nice.
Yeah, we hung out after the Emmys because he just hosted those, and
I got slammed for that.
Well, I didn't even see
him.
Jost is the nicest guy too.
I've met Colin. He's a really sweet guy.
They're both so sweet.
I've never met Michael, but it was crazy how they fucking slammed. I think because they're men. I really think because they're men, and that's the way the culture works right now. Why didn't women host it? Well, if you're gonna have equal opportunities, then equal opportunities mean men are going to do some shit sometimes too.
Well, also it's NBC's hosting the Emmys. Lauren's producing it. He's going to push his show.
Oh, okay. Then that makes sense because I think it's nepotism.
It's not nepotism. It's like if it was on CBS, it would be fucking Corden. If it was on ABC, it'd be Kimmel.
Same across the board. I agree. Yeah.
It's just like who's in charge. They're going to push their show. So yeah. That's what I mean. But man, so I ran into Jost like right after he got done hosting, we met up and he was like, let's get unreasonably drunk because we haven't hung out in a long time.
Yeah.
And me and Che had to switch from drinking Jameson to scotch when we were on the show writing nights because we don't like scotch. And we would drink it slower. But Jameson was too smooth. We're like, we're getting wasted. Like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
So it was like fun to see an old friend. But the only difference really was like, Che was allowed to be really drunk because he just hosted the Emmys, and I hadn't seen anyone in like 2 years. So I was and they were like, "Well, Brooks isn't doing well," and I'm like, "No, me and Che, man." And they're like, "Well, Che just hosted the Emmys; he deserves this." And I was like, "Well, all right, I get to."
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
No, he's just a great dude, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And last time I saw him, we had a real fun night.
That's awesome. I hear. I mean. Everyone loves Michael Che and Colin.
He's reasonable. He's highly reasonable.
He seems like a guy who doesn't pander much on stage. And
he doesn't pander at all.
Really?
It's really fun, yeah. And he calls me out of my shit. You need a friend who does that.
Oh, dude, the reason I'm friends with Shane Torres is because I got drunk one night on stage and fucking got in a fight with someone on stage, and I went up to Shane the next day. I was like, look, dude, I barely know you. I need to know how culpable I was last night from an honest opinion. Mm-hmm. He was like, pretty culpable. And I was like, all right, I'll always be your friend because you're real.
Yeah, him and I did an East Coast tour one time, and on the same day I found out, this is all, then we'll stop talking about Hollywood bullshit. But on the same day
we can talk about Hollywood bullshit.
No, but it was just like, I found out the pilot I was doing didn't get picked up. And then I got the paycheck, which I had never been paid that much. So I'd never seen that much taxes gone.
That's a fun moment when you find out taxes.
Shocking. Like it shocked me. And then I was just going through, my engagement had ended. And so it was like all these things. Your engagement
had ended?
Yeah, it was all these things right in a row. And then we were in Baltimore, and I just tied one on. And the next day, Shane was like, "I'm worried about you, buddy." And I was like, "Me too, Shane."
That's a great Shane impression.
Buddy, you was drinking at the bar alone, and I was like, "Come sit with us," and you just looked at me,
dog.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, I don't think this is good. You should get off the road, man. Yeah,
that's a great Shane.
I love Shane. Yeah, before he was as, I mean, he was always as funny as he is now. But there's no way I could take him on the road now because he's a fucking amazing headliner.
Yeah.
But like 3 years ago, it was just fun to go on the road with Shane.
Yeah, I'm taking him on a little bit of my tour. We're doing a couple runs, I think.
Yeah, it was.
I
so
love
fun.
him. I was just on tour with him this weekend, and he's just an easy hang, man.
Oh yeah, he'll go any way you want to go, but less hard.
And and what I like about him is like, because I can get not, I wouldn't say conservative, but like I can get like opinionated about shit that is like, I don't know, that maybe is a little fucking heavy-handed.
Sure.
And Shane will really quick.
He's reasonable.
Like, yeah.
He's like, well, you got to look at what you was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how many beers did you have before the conversation? Like,
a lot of times when I go, hey, do you know, ... He'll go, don't know them all, or he'll go, dear friend, like cut me off at the pass. Just, hey, heads up, don't shit on him. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's the best. He's like so funny. There's like a crew of Portland guys that are the best.
They really are. Ian Carmel.
Funches is nice.
Funches.
First time I met Funches, this is before he moved to Los Angeles. He left me at a guy named Ganja John's house. He's like, Brooks, you can get in the next car. And then I had done a dab. I'd never done a dab.
Oh, dear God.
So it was just me and a bunch of Portland people I didn't know watching this cartoon home movies for like 2 hours. And I was like, I'm supposed to be at a festival. And then Ron was like, glad you made it back. I'm like, you just left me at that John dude's house. And then I've been back, and Ganja John's a good guy.
So wait, what was the journey from Iowa to where you are today?
Oh, it was all over the place. I mean, because you and I met... you came and did Penguins in Cedar Rapids when I was the sound guy, taking calls and then also hosting the bad shows, the ones that nobody wanted to host. And I remember you came because it was, first of all, it's a great club, but there's a club like that, sometimes you're more excited for certain comedians. I was very excited to see you.
That's a really kind way to say that.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's some people I'm like, oh, I've seen him a couple times. I was like, oh, this guy's coming. I've heard he's great. So I was really excited. And I also got along with the club so great that I brought, the weekend you're there, I have it in my memory. So Penguins has a TV behind you.
Yeah.
Like a box TV. It's not a flat screen. And if you host, your job is to go up and turn off the VCR and the TV, then start your set.
Yeah.
Like, that's the sort of club it was. And I brought Guitar Hero. It had just come out.
I remember that night.
And we plugged it in.
I remember that night vividly.
Yeah, it was fun. I was like, we got Guitar Hero. Yeah, it was like the type, because I was like 19 or 20. And, they let me drink because I worked there, and it's in Iowa and it's chill. But yeah, so that's where we met.
It's the first time I ever saw Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it was like brand new. It was super fun. So I just started doing...
I remember losing my fucking mind that night because I was like, this could revolutionize learning. Also, this is how you could teach someone how to play the guitar.
Well, actually, it's how you can keep somebody from getting good at an actual guitar. You know what I mean? I got so good at it that I'm like, what if I just tried a real guitar with that same amount of time?
Yeah.
I fucked up. But I just worked at Penguins while I went to the University of Iowa and got an engineering degree. And then I'd spent like my summer between...
Got an engineering degree?
I'm a biomedical engineer. I was, till the day I got SNL. I worked at Caltech. That's why I never needed to go on the road, is I had a better paying job than SNL.
So wait, you got a
biomedical engineering degree.
What is that?
It means it's like mechanical engineering, only you study also anatomy. And then I studied cardiovascular biomechanics. So then you study basically like pipes, only pipes that can expand and contract. So like the first ever heart valve was created by a dude who just shrunk down an oil like valve. He's like, what if we just, did this?
Yeah.
So it's just like mechanical engineering. Then you have to learn about the body. It was all pre-med. It's like what you get if you want to be a doctor. And I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was like 17. So I was like, I'll be a doctor. And then I did stand up and I was like, I'm going to do that, but I'll finish this, I guess.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So, cause I didn't know how to get out of Iowa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I just did that. And then I would get internships in real cities in the summer, not like, cause cities with real comedy scenes. So I spent, when I was 20 in Kansas City doing open mics every night. It was really fun. And then the next summer I was 21, I spent in Chicago doing stand up every night. And that's where I met like all those dudes, Hannibal and Kumail and TJ Miller and Bronger and all those guys, Mike Breinstein, Mike Holmes. So then, yeah, I love those guys. And then, so after college, I only looked for jobs in New York and Los Angeles to go do stand up, but I didn't really explain why. Like I was just like, I got to go do stand up. I've been doing it like 3 years, but like twice a week.
Way more passionate about stand-up than you were.
Well, I knew I wanted to do it, but I'm saying like I'd been doing it, but not at the level you can do it in New York, Chicago, or anywhere.
Yeah. You was just doing a couple open mics a week.
Yeah, and I was driving to Chicago a lot to do the Monday night Zanies show, and then coming back for school on Tuesday. It was
good God.
Yeah, like shit you would never do now. You know what I mean?
I was just saying this to another person the other day. I was like, can you imagine that I used to drive? I drive from Tampa to Orlando when I was home on Thanksgiving to get a set in.
Oh, 100%. Like it's indentured servitude. It's like you're not gonna make any money for 7 years, and then you might make some money.
I think I did 2 sets for free last night.
I still do it for free.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's crazy. It's really bizarre the amount of time. Like, so I was talking to Joe Coy, and was it Gary Owen, and he was saying I used to drive from San Diego to LA to do spots and then back every night. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what the fuck?
I did that in Orange County for 2 years because when the job I got was in Irvine at this place called Edwards Life Sciences, and I can say their name because they fired me and they had every right to.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing anything illegal. I just was not there.
Really?
But I moved to Huntington Beach because I'm from Iowa, and I'm like, well, if I'm gonna fucking move to LA,
I'm gonna do it.
Let's live on the beach. And it was so fun. But I was like, oh, I'm not. I spent like a year smoking weed and trying to learn how to surf, and then I was like, that's not why I moved here. And then I started driving up every night to do like What's Up Tiger Lily. I used to go to the store until I was like, it was like not fun, but like the guys that I started with there were like Gerard and Santino and Britt Morin and like Angelo Bowers, and that was like the guys who hung out there. And then I just started hanging out at like the East Side rooms where like Bridenstine and Holmes and all the Chicago guys were. The Chicago guys really looked out for me.
Yeah, because they were a totally different scene. They were almost alty.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was,
without any of them really being alt comics.
No, like
I think they're just regular. I think the line is so fucking blurred now between what is alt and regular comedy.
It's 100% blurred. I think the Chicago guys are what did it because they were like, we're gonna be funny, but just for each other. Yeah. So just by virtue of having seen these guys at open mics in Chicago, they were like, yeah, you can come hang and crash on our couch and stuff like that. And then, then I got fired from that job and got a job at Caltech working on eyes. And then I did that living in Hollywood doing, 10 sets a week till I got SNL.
And then you get SNL and you're like, I'm out Caltech.
Yeah. It was
These eyes are blinking goodbye, motherfucker.
Well, the dumb part was everything had gone so well for the audition that I thought I had gotten it. Like I was like, I think I got SNL. This is weird. I had dinner with Lauren and all that shit. And it went so well that I quit going to my job, but I didn't tell them I quit because I was on salary.
Yeah.
And then they announced they had hired 4 new cast members. I wasn't one of them. And I was like, oh no. I don't know, I have a job. And so I just pulled like a full George Costanza and walked in and was like, what's up? And they're like, where the fuck have you been? And I was like, I've been working from home. And I just sat down and my boss was like, we got to talk, and I was like, we'll get to it. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. And then I got hired to go write at SNL that day. So
That day?
yeah, before lunch, I was like, we don't need to talk. I quit. I'm sorry. And he was really cool because they were really great. It was a small startup. You know what? You know when you like a boss, you don't want to disappoint him?
Yeah.
That was that sort of dude. I felt bad, disappointing that guy.
You're like, yeah, we'll talk later. Hey, you know what? I'm out. I'm out.
I'm out. He was so happy for me. He was really nice.
Yeah?
Yeah. Good dude.
That's crazy. I had never knew that about you.
Yeah, I was a full biomedical engineer. Like I was promoted twice, so I was a senior level engineer. And yeah, it was great. It was nuts. Worked a lot, like 50, 60 hours a week. I was going to Guadalajara to do human trials, like coaching surgeons on how to use our equipment and stuff like that.
Holy
it was gnarly.
Shit.
Yeah, it was crazy. I have like patents, but then I didn't care about any of that shit.
You should write a book, From Patents to Patent.
There we go.
Yeah.
No, it was just boring, man. It's
Could you go back and do it now? Like if
No, I was like
no, but I mean like literally. Could
no,
you?
I know, literally no. I don't think I could.
Really? It's something you got to be like up to date with.
Yeah. And it moves so quick, that field, and also huge blank spot on the old resume. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it again. Also, it's just like not what I do miss having to be up at 8 though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I miss like a day job. I miss like, I got to go to bed at 11.
Yeah, I've never had a job, so I don't know. Like I've never had like a day job.
Really?
Never, yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I've had I worked in a sweater shop, a sweater place for a couple, maybe a month, and then I worked at Barnes & Noble for a couple months.
How much did you steal from Barnes & Noble?
None.
None?
No, I'm a little bit of a teetotaler.
Okay.
Leanne says I'm a hardcore rule follower who doesn't believe that the rules apply to him.
Okay, I get that. I understand. I just don't mind stealing from big corporations. I would never steal from like a small place, but Walmart, fucking get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore teetotaler. Like I don't like confrontation.
No, I don't either at all.
I can't watch a movie where the guy's cheating on his girl and he's gonna get caught. Like I just can't watch that. That's not for me.
Sure.
I'm like that across the board. Like I don't like tension.
Yeah, I got anxiety is like is a bitch. Yeah, like I've had relationships where it's just like there's anxiety, and then it's just like leads to drinking beers, which leads to getting nothing done.
I found out over Sober October that I'm probably creating my own anxiety by drinking.
It doesn't help. That's for fucking sure. It does not help.
I had no anxiety all October.
It helps in the moment, and then fucking like exponentially in the morning makes it worse.
Oh, it does not. It fucking backfires like a motherfucker.
How did you like that? I knew you were doing that. How was that?
I loved it.
It was great?
Yeah, I liked the sober part a lot. A lot more than I think anyone would ever imagine me to like it. The working out part aspect was really intense. The competition was more intense than I ever had envisioned it being, but all in all, those months are really like you get done them and you kind of sit there like staring at the wall, going, "I can't believe I just did that."
Sure.
Like, we worked out in the top 0.1 percentile of the world of people with that heart rate monitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was insane. Like we put in.
What was your heart rate at like the whole time you were supposed to be working out?
Ideally 150 would be a perfect
like
place.
Lance Armstrong does like 200, but he's on steroids and also the greatest cardiovascular specimen who's ever been alive.
Yeah. I would usually stay at like 140 was where I was super comfortable and could be there all day. But like 150 and I was getting a little winded. 155 around that area. That was where you earn the most points.
Okay.
But I don't know anything about the heart. I didn't talk to my doctor about it. I just did it. So part of me had a little bit of anxiety going like, am I going to have a fucking heart attack?
Yeah, that's probably pretty gnarly. You probably should build into that. But
well, I slow rolled it and worked out very minimally at front because I didn't want to get injured. And I was like, I shouldn't. And I was the fattest when I started. And I was like, I should really make sure I take slow bites of this as opposed to like fucking Ari the first day, like threw up ridiculous. Joe threw up ridiculous points, and we were all like, "Fuck!" But he was like, for him, it was a seamless transition.
Sure.
But yeah, I like being sober.
Yeah, I mean, I'm way more proud of myself. I never have to be like, did I talk too much to that person?
Oh my God, that is my biggest flaw when I get drunk.
I mean, especially at festivals, like I'll be like, did I corner J.P. Buck last night? Who is like a great fucking guy who books all sorts of amazing stuff. And I'm like, I think I just talked to him about why, like, I remember like the first Montreal, I was just like yelling about why don't we talk about how good Prince is at guitar? And it's like, no one's disagreeing with me. Yeah. Why am I having this argument?
Dude, that is something I could, if I could fix about myself, I definitely talk way, and especially when I get drunk, I almost like, it's not, I mean, if we're going to be real honest, it's a little preachy.
Oh, yeah. I have hard beliefs that I don't really have when I'm drunk.
Yeah. I cornered someone the other night to give them advice about comedy, and what I was basically saying was, don't take anyone's advice.
Yeah, no, I will tell network people what's wrong with their network.
I will too.
It's the dumbest move all time. No, I'm saying I've done it too. It's so stupid. I'm like, so that's why now with like festivals, I'm like, give me in and give me out. I don't need any extra time there.
Dude, I was at the New York Comedy Festival this weekend.
Oh, how was that?
It was good, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really interact with anyone.
The first I did when it used to be Comedy Central, I got thrown out of the party when they were like the new comics to watch, and when there was like 10 of us. I got thrown out for stealing a bottle of vodka, and the booze was free. That's how dumb I used to be. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That was like 2012. Yeah.
I went to that party, the TBS party, the big Conan Coco party. And I didn't know anyone there, and it's all the people that.
It's a lot of New York. They really pull from New York.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. When I was young, I would watch the guys go to those parties, and I would be like, I'd be like,
don't you have something better to do?
Well, no. I'd see the guys that weren't really great comics, but they were really good at marketing themselves.
Oh, okay.
And they could get into those parties and be like, yeah, I have a +1, but I already promised I was going to take it. And you'd be like, so I was never good at marketing myself, so I just was like, I guess I won't go to this party. I remember this is when like Sylvester Stallone and everyone was opening restaurants, you know, and they opened a restaurant above Caroline's. I want to say it's called Comedians or something, or the Green Room.
Ugh.
And Dimitri Martin who by the way has always been a brilliant marketer.
He is probably my favorite joke of this year. I just saw him do it at UCB. I was like, that's the best joke I've heard. It was, I'm sure I can say it. I think it was in a special.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I forget, you're the best.
What was the joke?
His joke was, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye. And he's like, it's also all fun and games till someone finds an eye. So I think the real slogan should be, it's all fun and games as long as there's an even number of eyes. And I was like, that's just such a great Dimitri Martin joke.
He is a brilliant mathematician of the art.
Yes, exactly. He had his notebook. He's taking notes. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. I could talk about Dimitri for hours. I think he is fantastic, but he was, I mean, like, you gotta understand, man, he started fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I think I was at one of his first open mics, and he was so far beyond any of us that we were like, whoa. And he just immediately took off.
Right. That was Gerard for us. Like, really? Gerard Carmichael, we were just like, well, how are you? You're already? Okay. It was like that.
I've never seen him do stand-up.
Well, this is like 2009, 2010, and we were all like 22.
Yeah.
And he was probably like 20, and he was just better than us.
Really?
So was Angelo Bowers. Angelo Bowers was equally... Him and Angelo were so funny. Angelo died in this car wreck.
Yeah.
And those guys were just like, oh yeah, those guys for sure.
Yeah, that Angelo thing really fucking smacked the store, huh?
Yeah, I wasn't hanging out there, but I mean, he was still like it was nuts.
Him and Josh Adam Myers were really close.
Yeah, Josh was driving the car. Drunk driver hit him.
I didn't know Josh was driving the car.
Yeah.
I'm sure I knew that. I'm sure Josh has told me, and I just was drunk and I don't remember.
Sure. Yeah, that's an easy one to glaze over.
Dude, I barely when people talk, sometimes you can hear this on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't listen at all. Sometimes I'm thinking what the next thing to say
You know
is.
what? I took mushrooms like last week and I wrote down listen more, talk less. And I was
my
like,
God.
that's like, because on mushrooms, I'm introspective and want to hear stories, but drunk, I'm just waiting for my chance to tell what I have to say. I'm like, is he done? Can I go now?
Yeah.
Terrible.
But it's a comic thing.
Sure. But also it's nice that at least we know it.
Oh, I'm well aware of the fact that I interrupt people non-fucking stop. My thing my epiphany, my mantra I came up with was do things that make you more uncomfortable. Because I was like, you get into this rut of like, and I think it's what kills art is you're like, I'm making money. I just want to stay home and enjoy my family. I don't want to go to the clubs every night. I don't want to get out there. I don't want to have to go up and bomb. I don't want to have to. And then I was like, no, I think you have to in order to do good art.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I got lazy to where I don't like, I moved to New York and stayed there after SNL. And it was like, the stand-up was just like.
You stayed in New York?
As a kind of a fuck you. Like, you're not going to tell me where to live. I'm going to stay in New York. Also, the girl I was seeing was like, I want to stay in New York. So that was also part of it. So that was probably most of it. But I did stay, which was the worst idea I had. But like, I got really into the stand-up scene there. And it's so much easier in New York. I'd skate within my fucking apartment. Were like 5 amazing spots to go up where the crowd was good. So we just skate around and jump on shows. It's so much easier. Out here in LA, you're like, where am I going to go? Is it going to be good? Are there going to be any buds there? Am I driving or Ubering? Because am I going to drink or not?
Yeah.
Like, so it's tougher
but see, this is going to sound super comic privilege-y.
Sure.
But I like a bad room better than a good room.
Okay. I mean, I like a good hang more than anything. That's all I really care about. Is it going to be fun hang?
Yeah.
Because I'll go up and I'll bomb, but at least I know my buds are going to like me bombing.
Yeah. But I do, Tripoli's got the Sycamore Tavern. And man, that room, I have been loving it so much because you're just like, it's like sometimes there's like 100 people. Sometimes there's like 50.
Where's that one? Is that one in Burbank?
No, it's dude, Flappers is a great club too. I just ran into the owners last night.
I just got an email from, I used to do Flappers back in the day when I would drive up from Orange County and they'd be like, no show. No. And I'm like, fucking text me. And I would steal Yoo-Hoo from them because they have a room called the Yoo-Hoo room. And I would just be like, well, I'm taking a fucking box of Yoo-Hoo because I drove here. Yeah. So I haven't been back there since then.
Yeah, that's a great club. But you know, like for me, what makes a great club isn't like, I mean, obviously the store is just fucking amazing right now. But out of my 2 sets last night, the OR where it's packed with a lot of people that just know that comedy's popular right now.
That's my problem with like things like that. Like I don't do well. I should, and that's what New York taught me. But like in LA, you can really find exactly who you can perform for yourself so easily here. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you can just go and you can do well to other 30-year-old white dudes. But then you go, but then you got to go to the store and you have to do well for who America is.
A bunch of fucking, and sometimes a bunch of Europeans, some Asians. And it is a tourist destination.
Exactly. And that's my problem with it. But also that's a good thing about it.
It's a great thing. I mean, you go to the main room and it's packed with fans of comedy, not like they're there to see that certain show. And then the OR is just this grab bag, sold out room of just like some fans and some people that are just like, yeah, I know comedy's booming right now. We wanted to go see a comedy show. We didn't know where to go. We can at least we're seeing 20 comics tonight. One of them we'll like.
No, it's great, and I have no qualms with it. I'm just like. It is like
I should do more alti rooms.
No, I mean I should do more but here's my problem with some shows. Do you ever see somebody doing great with what you feel like is really bad stuff?
Yeah.
And so I go up mad at the crowd. I'm like, you liked that? So then I gotta reset myself and be like, no, don't do that. Just go up and be like, what if you also like this?
Bad habits pay off in spades at the store sometimes. Like bad habits that would ruin your career pay off in spades at the store.
What do you mean? You can do well there with places that won't work out elsewhere?
No. It just doesn't benefit your stand-up.
It's exactly how I feel about just doing New York. I had the best fucking 15 minutes on like Brooklyn, and it would crush. And then I'd be like, oh, I got to go tour. It does nothing for me. That's why I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm living in this weird world where I'm being celebrated for knowing, the Bedford stop past 1.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone's like, yeah, I know the guy with the owls.
Yeah.
But who else fucking, it's so dumb.
Dude, at the store at a Hollywood, I think in all of stand-up, across the board. I noticed it the most in New York when I started, was like probably where I noticed it the most, where you're just like, the bad habits would be like, for me, would be not writing material and going up and trying to write, allowing it to fail, and then figuring out why it failed. But starting a new bit, and then when it started to not do well, bailing on it and improvising on something in the room.
Yeah.
That people really appreciate that. They really think, God, he can just go off the top of his head.
Right.
Now, there's guys that do it for a living. Like Ian Bagg can go off the top of his head from the second he steps on the stage until an hour 20, and it is all genius shit. But then there's people that do it because they're afraid of writing new material.
Yeah, Ian Bagg is the guy who the other day I was at a bigger club, and I walked out and he was in the waiting room or whatever. He goes, "Yeah, I don't watch this crowd because I'm gonna go up mad." I was like, "Yeah, it's exactly the same."
Ian's fucking amazing.
He's the best. But yeah, no, some people are great at it. Other people, that's why I tried to do improv for a second. But you can't bail on a bad, like a UCB. Like I was like, and I recommend going to UCB if you want to meet other young people who like comedy and want to make it their living.
Yeah.
Because I made some really great friends, but I bailed because I was like, I'm not good at this. Because if something's not working, I'd be like, all right, never mind. And they're like, no, that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You have to, either way,
stick to it.
But yeah, I bail on everything.
Oh, I did not do fantastic at the store last night. And I woke up a little shell shook from it, because you always do.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure if you saw it, you'd be like, you did great. But yeah. I know for a fact I didn't, and I know what a bit sounds like on the road. I know the pacing and the cadence of the crowd, and then when you go to the store and they really don't know who the fuck you are, and you go into this bit, you really fucking feel your silences, and you're like, okay, yeah, that joke needs work.
I have like a thing where like I won't. If I know the crowd's bad, I'm not going to give them a joke I know works, because I'm not going to doubt myself.
Oh, you can trick them too. Like there's so many bad habits that I've been guilty of, all of them throughout my career.
Sure.
Dude, one of the biggest bad habits was like probably when I was doing Penguins, is my material then was just like fucking nose to the wall, like I'll be edgy. I'll do crowd work.
That's
I'll
like
be fucking
the number one new comic thing to do. Not that you were new then. You were fantastic.
I was new then.
But you know what I mean? Like the number one thing when you can't write a joke yet is you're like, I'm going to shock them. You know what I mean? And they're just like, we're like, oh, that is pretty crazy you said that. But I mean, it'd be cool if it was funny too.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you had a punchline attached to that shocking statement.
Yeah.
You just made about all black people.
Dude, I just had so much dumb, like, bits that would go nowhere, and I'm like, they just don't get it. And then I'm like, no, they got it, and it sucked. Yeah.
Oh, I remember hearing a fight between two friends, and one friend was just trying to shit on the audience and be like, yeah, man, they don't get edgy comedy. And the other guy's like, no, you're not edgy, you're just not good.
No, yeah, it's a big difference.
There's a big difference between being edgy and being good. Mm-hmm. What did you have aspirations of being on SNL, or did you ever think like, I want to be an actor, or
No.
I just want to be a comedian?
It's so bizarre. It was literally like, I was obsessed with Saturday Night Live, lived in this town called Manchester, Iowa.
A lot of black people, or a lot of like just white people, or?
Oh, yeah, super white. There was one black girl in my school.
Yeah.
And I just remember like loving Weekend Update. Like just my parents on Saturday nights had two older brothers, and they were like, you can stay up to see if Adam Sandler's on.
What do your
Weekend
brothers
Update.
do?
They're both cool. One's a wrestling coach. They were awful growing up, but now I really love them. You know?
No, were they much older?
4 and 6 years, old enough to really, beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
One's a wrestling coach, and the other one is like a banker dude who's like, I call him the coolest guy in Iowa. He's so rad. He's the one who worked at Penguins and knew I loved comedy and was like, hey, we have an open mic night. I can get you in underage if you want to try it. He was that sort of dude, like fostered.
Yeah.
Because he was a dick until he left home and went to college, and then he came back and he's like, hey, it's actually pretty great out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would stay up and watch Weekend Update, and then I got a book from like a book fair about Adam Sandler, and it said he did stand-up comedy before he got on Saturday Night Live. And then when I was in like 5th grade, I was like, all right, I guess that's what I'll do to get on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And then, you get out to LA or New York or Chicago, and you realize that's impossible. And then I saw really funny comedians at UCB who are great at characters. I was like, they're for SNL. And
There's a real deflation when you get into the business and you're like, oh, I'm probably never going to get on SNL. Like, I don't do what any of those people do.
Yeah, no, I totally was like, that's fine. And I love stand-up comedy. I got to where I wanted to be the greatest stand-up comedian of all time. Like when you're like 24, 25, I'm like, that's all I ever want to do.
I wrote that on a piece of paper and put it on my front door.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I cared about. Tunnel vision. And then through that, I got on fucking SNL, and then like kind of got derailed into being like, you're an actor now, even afterwards, like come out, you're an actor, do this pilot, and then like it took like, like, some real life shit, like, like an engagement ending that really, like.
So wait, were you engaged during this entire time? That girl that made you stay in New York?
Mm-hmm. Yes. We got engaged after we moved back to Los Angeles. And then like when we broke up, I thought I was sad about SNL, and it was like, oh no, this is true sadness. Like, I don't know how to handle this. And then that shook me up. So I spent like a year kind of on the land, just being a bummer. Like a type of dude who when I'd walk into a party, to be like, fuck, here comes Grumps, and then like, just had to shake it out and be like, what got me to where I was? And I was like, stand up. And then I got back in love with stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're such a talented stand up.
Well, that's very nice, but it took it, you go in waves.
You're right. You do go in these waves where you're like, sometimes you're going into the clubs and you're like, I know I have to do this every night. I know this is what I'm doing, but I'm not writing. And then all of a sudden you get into these places where you're like, oh my God, not only am I writing, I'm sprinting.
I love deadlines. So I'm about to go on a 5-week little run. I'm going to Tallahassee tomorrow.
For real?
You're just doing Florida State, just not just, I know you went to school there, but yeah, I have to take a red eye to Tallahassee. That's the most fun about comedy.
Yeah.
And, but then at the end, I'm doing the Addison Improv. I'm going to tape an hour to like give, to be like, so it's exciting when you have a project you're working for.
Dude, I say that right now, my favorite part of stand-up's right now, where I'm getting ready to write this hour to tour it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so it doesn't need to be perfect come January 9th, but it needs to be real close. It needs to be real close so that every time I go up, I'm dialing it in. I'm just tightening the screws.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, I have an hour right now, and I want to turn in 48.
Yeah.
So like, if I can get rid of 12 minutes of what I think is already pretty good, it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, and then what bums me out, but what is the job is when you get the offer and you're like, okay, you're shooting an hour in 3 months, and you're like, okay, and you do the math and you go, and I love getting in front of a calendar and going, I need to get 150 spots out in 3 months. And I was like, how do we do that? And you're like, all right, 3 ad shows. But it's added to, I
love it though, because that's when that's when it's crunch time. You're like, that's when like you can really put your set together. I don't know. That's when the math really comes in for me of like, this adds to this adds to this. So it's a fluid story. There's no, that's when I get.
Dude. And then you start looking at the algorithm of Netflix and why people watch it when they watch. And then you start going, okay, so if we know, like, I mean, when I did my hour for Showtime, I weaved it so that I peaked here early, like 21 minutes. And then I dropped down and then peaked again and then wrote it up to the machine. And I was like, okay. When I did this special, I was like, oh, let's reverse engineer this and let's take, if they're saying that people only watch Netflix for 30 minutes, Well, let's put my closer at like 25 minutes.
Bang it in, yeah.
And all my jokes I'm like that are really murdering, as opposed to what you do with the traditional hour, sprinkling them throughout and make sure that it's paced out evenly. I was like, let's front load it, and then let's take these two stories and allow them to breathe, and then if you've seen that, then you'll watch that, and then
100%. Yeah.
But it's really, the fucking art form is super fucking interesting. When you got into the breakup, was it like I'm always like fascinated by, I call them the salad days, but when life takes a big change for you and you're like, okay, time to regroup. Like, I always look at it romantically in the past, but in the moment it sucks.
I have a terrible over-romanticize. Like, I over-romanticize everything.
Yeah.
The relationship wasn't great, and I like put it on this pedestal. But yeah, I don't know.
Who broke up with who?
It was I don't want to get into too much, but it wasn't mutual, and there was some other shit going down.
Yeah.
That was really hurtful.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. My feelings were like shattered.
Yeah.
But
I've been there.
Yeah. It was like, I didn't know how to, eat, that sort of stuff. But I got through it, and then dumbly we dated again like a year later, and I was like, I've learned nothing. But either way, it was just like, I just drank a lot, and I was a bummer to be around, and then like,
that's the hardest part, is when people start noticing that you're the bad mood. And,
yeah,
and
no,
100%.
I had a really great manager who pulled me in, and she was like, "You're fucking bumming everybody out, man. You got to knock it off if you want to salvage this shit." Yeah. And that's like what I needed.
Yeah, you need that tough love. I had a friend tell me, you're transferring negative energy.
Oh, 100%. I was like, it was not fun. I totally get it. And now when I see friends going through it, I get it. And I'm like, hey man, positive. It sucks. Go do what makes you happy. Get away. Like, I went camping a lot.
That's where you came. That's where by the way, I watched Travels and Such.
Oh, you saw it?
Of course I did. Yeah.
I love that. That's fun.
Fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
That was really nice of All Things Comedy, just to be like, yo, what do you want to do? And I was like,
dude, it's so much fun. And it's so funny because we brainstormed the name on Something's Burning, and it fits in so great especially with the guys you brought.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's my crew. Those are the type of guys I hang out with, like the least macho.
You guys giggled so fucking much throughout
just
that.
Like guys who we kiss each other on the lips all the time.
Yeah,
there's no toughness. We're a bunch of pussies. And
the thing that amazed me is, were you guys drunk when you went on that hike?
We were wasted.
Yeah, I was like, I could not physically. I'd be like, as soon as I start getting drunk, I'm like, let's just make sure we're locked down here.
Yeah. Well, the problem was we've already recorded the second episode before I saw the first episode, and I was like, oh man, I should dial it back. But with the second episode, we dialed it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh boy, this one's gonna be rough.
It was great. What's his name? Pissed in a hole.
Nick Rutherford, yeah, he taught us, if you just dig a hole in the beach, you pull your pants down, you don't have to go to the bathroom, you just pee in this hole.
Fucking awesome, man. It was it's such a, like, what I like about media, I guess I'll say, is the right way to phrase that, because it's technically a TV show, but it's not a TV show, because there's no editing, there's no arc, there's no like third act, second act. It's just a great, I guess ultimately the arc is the camping trip itself, but what I liked about it is, like with good media, you just end up giggling. Yeah,
it was just like two of my best friends and me doing exactly what we would do.
Yeah.
And then we filmed it.
Who did you do the second episode with?
It's with Nick Turner and Carl Hess. Carl Hess is who I bring like on the West Coast. He's a great comedian. Nick Turner is one of my best friends. He's a New York comedian. And that one's fun too. It's different. We went to a swimming hole. It's just all good. And then the next one, Lucas Brothers and me are going to rent a van and drive up to Joshua Tree. Just like all the guys my age that I get along with, just fucking going on little trips.
God, man, it's so great. You need to go to that place. What's that? That waterfall in Havasu that everyone jumps off of?
Oh, yeah. There's like a really good one. It's called I think Havasu Falls.
I think it's called Havasu Falls.
But you have to hike like 2 days or take a helicopter to get there.
Bill Burr.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
Bill Burr.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah.
It's like his network.
I know. I mean, that place is like a dream, because what I like about places like that is not easy to get to. So it really keeps the riffraff out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one time
I've never been.
Me and my buddy Croy went on we went on a camping trip, and we thought we were the only ones there. And I had to take a shit, and they had a porta potty in the thing. And I mean, this is gonna sound really crass, but I grew up in Florida. In Florida, if you had to take a shit and you were on the beach, you just took your pants off and you shit in the water. You just took a shit in the water.
Yeah.
And you wiped with your finger, rinsed your hands, and then that's it.
Okay.
And we did it all the time, all the fucking time. By the way, there's people that I grew up with going, I never did that, but I did it. Croy did it. Cayman did it. We all fucking did it. So, by the way, it's not even the worst thing we did. So, we're out on Catalina. We're on this beach over in Sharks Bay. No one's around, and Croy's like, I gotta take a shit. And he's like, just go in the water. And I was like, I haven't done that in like easily 15 years. And he was like, no one's here. We're fine. We had some friends with us, but they weren't coming over. Like, from friends were camping with us.
Yeah.
So I go in the water, I take a shit, and it's a huge log. And the water's so clear this day, we can see it in the waves. We can see it floating in the waves. Like, just the wave would go up and it would just go perpendicular. And we're laughing at how big it is. And all of a sudden, a fucking group of Asian tourists shows up out of nowhere.
That's
like
great.
10 of them. And they get in the water, and I'm watching my log float to them. And there's a huge language barrier, but the commonality is that they know what shit looks like just as much as I know what shit looks like.
Okay, yeah.
And like, our only saving grace would be for me to get in the water and grab it and throw it. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
No.
And then luckily they got out of the water, and it just got pulled out. It got pulled out. And I was like, oh, thank God. I love Catalina. Catalina is my favorite place in the world.
We were gonna go there for a trip, but then like it's getting cold right now to be camping outside. I've never been to the Channel Islands. We should do that.
Yeah,
there's no motors allowed over there.
Really?
So you have to kayak. You have to like take a boat, kayak, bring everything in. It's a national park.
Really?
Yeah.
How far is the kayak?
How far is the kayak?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then it's yours. You take a boat.
You take a boat there, and then
you get
kayak
dropped off,
there, yeah.
and then you can kayak around all these islands that are uninhabited.
Oh. Have you ever done a sea kayak?
No, I kayaked through the Everglades alone one time, and that was scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I didn't know I was afraid of alligators until one came in, and I was like, I'm very afraid of alligators.
Oh my God, alligators are fucking terrifying.
They're so scary.
Yeah, dude, we went. We were in Seattle and on trip flip, and they were like, we're gonna go sea kayaking, and they're like, we have one legit sea kayak, and then we have two like kind of little less complicated, and they're always like, Bert's the expert, why don't we put him in this one?
Yeah.
And I got in it, and the second I got in the water, it felt real squirrely. Like, it was just like it could really flip you upside down, and I'm like tarped in. And I say to the guy, I'm like, so what do I do? Like, how do I, if I flip upside down? And he goes, if you flip upside down, you're not going to get back up in the thing. And he's like, that will not happen. So it's best if you just Eskimo roll. And I was like, I can't Eskimo roll. And he's like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't flip upside down. And I go, well, how do I avoid that? And he goes, it's very easy. Just make sure that you are always paddling. Keep a paddle in the water.
Okay.
And make sure you're just always paddling. And he goes, because when most people flip is when they stop paddling, they start looking around, and they're like, he goes, so just very calmly, just always make sure there's a paddle in the water. And I was like, okay. So we start paddling, and the other two people can very easily stop theirs, and they kind of stop, talk to the boat, and I'm just like, well, I got to keep going. And then next thing you know, I can't turn around to see them. I have no idea how far they are. And I start going out the sound, and I'm like going out to sea.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrified of flipping over. Because now I'm in like the fucking middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
And I'm just paddling and paddling and paddling. And the boat comes up, and they're like, what are you doing? And I go, I can't turn around.
Oh, my
I don't know how to turn around. Sea kayaks are scary as fuck.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude. Yes. Okay. So I'll just tell you that Everglades story because this is a Florida story that you'll understand.
Yeah.
So I was down there shooting a thing, and I had like a day off, and the other people didn't want to. They were like, "We want to sit in the hotel." I'm like, "I'm fucking over hotels." We were shooting in Tampa, and I was like, "I'm gonna rent a car. I'm gonna go to the Everglades." And I went down there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like the legit. Oh my God. Okay.
So I go down. And
they're filled with fucking alligators.
Yes. So I go down.
Filled with alligators and fucking pythons.
Right. And I'm alone, and I just like pull up. It's probably like 2 or 3. I got like a late start. And I go, hey, I want to rent a kayak and take it out there. And the guy was like, okay, cool. I was like, where can I see alligators? Probably. He's like, oh, you want to go this way? I was like, yeah, I'm going to go that way. And he's like, I'm going to leave at 5. if you're not back by then, no worries. Just pull the kayak up and then, just leave it there and I'll get it in the morning. And I was like, all right. And I'm like so confident, feeling so cool. Like, I'm like, man, this is some real like fucking Huck Finn shit. And then I was, like I have a map, but it's still scary. It's like a fucking maze. And I'm like cruising. I was like, that's a big log. And then the log just goes under towards me. And I was like, there's a fucking alligator. And I start backpedaling. I was yelling, sorry. I didn't know what because it was completely alone.
Sorry. My bad. I thought you were a log.
Yeah. And then I was like, got back and it was like 6:30. I was like, they would have not known for like a day.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I have a memory of as a kid, we went, it was the first time I ever heard Jimmy Buffett's fins to the left, fins to the right. I mean, we were in Seth Eker's van and Seth Eker's dad was taking us on a canoe trip. And so it was Seth Eker and his dad and me and my dad in a canoe. By the way, my memory is fucking horrible because I remember things really jaded into a fantastic story.
Oh, yes.
And so
that's what Grace.
Yeah.
I'll tell a story and then afterwards she's like, how does it really go?
Yeah.
Like, what really happened?
My wife does that all the time.
Yeah.
And then my wife's always shocked when it's close. She goes, that's actually true.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, yeah, they're all fucking true in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we go into I don't know what, maybe the Swanee River, one of the Ishnetuckney rivers, and we get in this whatchamacallit, and we start going down like little tiny things, and there's alligators all around.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And I was like, I remember I was in first grade, and I was like, my dad's like, keep your hands in the canoe, buddy.
Yeah.
And they were just everywhere, and they're like, they won't bother you as long as you don't bother them. And I was like, the fuck they don't.
Yeah.
Dude, they got alligators were a real problem when we were growing up.
Yeah, they're dinosaurs.
Dude, have you seen? I was watching some documentary. I think that sounds. I just punched that story so up. When we talk about how I exaggerate a story, I wasn't watching a documentary. I was looking at a video on Instagram today, and it was a trailer for a new Travel Channel show about this guy, the Grizzly Man.
Not Grizzly Man. That guy got eaten. That's a documentary about Timothy Treadwell.
That was fucking
Timothy Treadwell. That guy.
Him and his chick both got eaten, right?
Him and his lady, yeah. That came out.
The camera rolled.
Well, the sound audio, and you don't hear it in the documentary, but it's just like Werner Herzog watching somebody listen to. He goes, "It's probably best if we never give away that audio." Like you're like, "Oh man, I kind of want to hear it, but I shouldn't."
Oh, you can't unhear that.
He doesn't play it, but he's like, it was terrible.
Oh, I bet it was fucking out of this world.
Yeah, man, Werner Herzog kills me when he talks.
When there's a thing that happens when something real happens, it's amazing that like how the intensity translates immediately.
Oh yeah, just like seeing something real. I'm trying to think what happened there. I was like, oh, I didn't know that could happen.
Do you remember when they pulled that Asian guy off the plane?
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember the noises he made?
It's like, no, I mean, it's crass, but like one of my favorite things to do is when he is hanging on to the side of that after they let him back on the plane and he's just going, kill me. Like anytime I'm super hungover and my friend's like, how's it going? I'm like, kill me. Because yeah, it's insane, man. Oh, it's like, dude, and the craziest part about it is I think United doubled down after that. Like,
really?
Have you flown United lately? Mm-mm. They're like, that's who we are now.
Really?
They're mean as fuck. I'm like, you should be like giving people pillows and massages.
It's a really crazy situation to be in where they should have the right to tell someone to get off a plane if they need to. Mm-hmm. Like that should be the way that it's their aircraft.
Yes, but also don't do that ever. Don't pull up an old doctor's belly and smash his face against a bunch of shit.
But the video they didn't show was probably the dude who was like, man, come on, let's not make this into a thing.
Yeah, I don't. It was nuts, man. I forget what happened. Just something else had happened recently. But yeah, that video alone was, I was like, it was hair raising.
I've flown so much. I've seen some crazy shit. I dropped a bag on a dude's face one time.
Oh,
a roller bag on a dude's face. Mm-hmm. I was getting on the plane. I was late. I was like towards the end of boarding.
I'm always last guy. Love being last guy.
Oh, I'm always first. I like being the first person on the plane.
Oh, I hate it.
I love it. I love it. I love it more than anything. I want to be I'm the very first person, and I'm listen because of my status. They call my name and bring me on first. I love it. I was getting on a plane from Edmonton to, I think it was Edmonton to Phoenix. And merch sales in Canada are fucking through the roof, especially during the oil boom. And I might have had $6,000 cash on me, Canadian.
Right.
And so I'm drunk. I go to put my bag up, and as I push it, there's a bag that won't let it go. So I push it, and it just kind of moves down and falls.
Yep.
Now, it lands on a guy's face and breaks his glasses.
Oh, shit.
Lands on his face.
Yeah.
And what I did not know is he had previously been fighting with the flight attendant pretty aggressively. Flight attendant did not see it. All she sees is him losing his shit on me. I am so apologetic. Yes. I'm like, sir, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I was like, and he is stunned and has a little bit of a head injury.
Yes.
And believes that me and the flight attendant
have teamed up.
Collusion. Collusion.
Yeah.
That she said to me, real quick, I don't know you at all, drop that bag on that guy's face. I'm like, done, of course. Anything for a person I don't know. Yeah. And then just went and gone wham. Mm-hmm. And he's like, she did this. And I'm like, and I'm confused. I'm like, no, I don't know. And then this woman is getting blamed for me dropping the bag on. Mm-hmm. And I'm like super apologetic. And I hear him talking about, I'm sitting right in front of him. So I'm like, before we take off, I go, sir, once again. And he goes, don't talk to me unless you're willing to pay for these glasses. And I go, 100% I'll pay for those glasses. Yeah. And he goes, they're expensive glasses. I said,
that's fine.
I said, I have no problem. I'll give you money right now. And he goes, you don't have that money on you. I said, name a price. And he goes, they're $500. And I went, okay. That's and I pulled out $6,000 in cash, and I counted it off, and I gave them to him. I go, there's $500. I tell you what, here's another $100 for your trouble. Mm-hmm. I apologize. And he's like, stunned. And then I hear his wife go, they weren't $500. And he was like, and then he hits me. He goes, okay, they're really like $300. And I actually, I have a new set getting made. So like, I can't take all your money. And he gives money back. So we land, and there's cops waiting for him.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit. And the guy fucking scoots past the cop, and they grab me, and they're like, who's the guy? Point him out. And I'm like, I can't snitch.
Yeah.
I go, I fucking created this problem. I can't. I go, I got to be honest with you. None of this would have happened if I hadn't dropped my bag on his face. And they're like, you dropped a bag on his face? And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. We just said we're up at the All Things Comedy Festival, and I don't do shots. And I ran into Steve Byrne. It's fun to run into pals on festivals.
Yeah, of course.
So me and Steve did a bunch of shots, and then I had to fly home in the morning. Like, I always book the earliest flight out because I'm like, that'll keep me from drinking.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah. And I got cut off just by how I looked. Like, I was
Are you serious?
I was like, can I get a beer? And the woman on the flight was like, I think you're all right. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? So I was like, land. I was like, this is a new low. Got cut off on how I looked.
I had quit drinking on planes, and then I started this past weekend, and we were flying home, and I was just I was chasing them back.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. Like, I try to be like, hey, look, like, let's be reasonable. Let's save some time here. This is a fucking 6-hour flight.
Yeah.
3 beers isn't crazy. Let's just do that right now.
Dude, I'll tell you right now, 6 beers isn't crazy.
That's what I mean, but I'm playing it safe. I'm like, let's do 3 now, and then, hey, in an hour or 2, let's do 3 more. I'm trying to streamline your time and my time.
Oh, yeah.
And they do not like that.
I said to a flight attendant one time, I got cut off flying to South Africa. He's like, sir, you've had 4 beers. And I went, okay. And I let him walk away. And then I went up to the middle galley, and I went, here's the situation we're in. I have severe flight anxiety, and the only thing that calms it down is drinking beers. No, we have an option. I can go to my bag, and I can eat a Xanax, and we can have a mess on our hands. I've already had 4 beers. I'll take a milligram of Xanax, and God bless what happens then. Or I can, all my life, I'll tell you, I won't take that Xanax if you can find a way to keep serving me beers. And he's like, I can give you a beer every hour on the hour. I go, if we start right now, you got a deal. Hands me a beer, and I looked at my watch, and I was like, 41, here we go. And I would just pace it. As long as I had the beer in my hand, I was calm.
Sure.
And then I just murder it up until, and then at one point I saved a beer. I was like, I'm going to save a beer, and then what I'll do is I'll kill one, kill the other one, and then wait an hour and kill that one. I was like, oh, here we go. Like, it was almost a fun little game.
That is a fun game. It's also pretty reasonable too. I mean, like, because you don't want to show up blasted.
Oh, I've shown up so blasted.
Me too, but I'm like, 5 beer, like, because I flew from New York to LA so often that I'd be like, 5-6 beers is fine. But like, if you get a real cool flight attendant who's like, hey, what's up? Then they'll, then they're giving you freebies.
Oh yeah.
And like, girlfriend's picking you up or wife's picking you up, and they're just like, oh God.
Oh, I love when they say to me,
like, what's that?
They go, you're not driving today, are you?
Yeah.
And then that's when I flex my privilege. Ma'am, I haven't driven myself to the airport in 15 years. And they're like, excuse me? I said, I know that I drink on planes, so I always have a car service.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, car service. And I was like, oh, I should have said taxi.
Yeah. No, you got to say car service.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm trying to, I don't even remember what the story was. Never mind. It was a plane story about something that was unimportant. Oh, I try to play it too cool on planes. You know what I mean? Like, to where, like, if it's really bad, I try to act like nothing's a big, like, my worry is that if a plane is legitimately crashing and everyone's screaming, I'm just going to be like, this is lame. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I try to play it too much. Like, it's going to be fine. Might not be.
Not me. I was on a flight coming in from Alaska to Seattle, and we're over, what is it, Halifax? What's that? Like the Nova Scotia?
Halifax, but that's not Alaska.
No, it's
Juneau?
Like, no. We're
Vancouver?
flying. We're flying probably over Vancouver.
Okay.
But we're like just outside, but we're over the water, and it's just horrible bumps. I'm sitting next to my cameraman, this guy Mike, and I'm freaking out, and he's super calm, one of the most zen dudes. And he's like, what are you worried about? And I was like, that I'll die, Mike. That's what I'm worried I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but you've lived a great life. And I said, Mike, I haven't done shit with my life. And he goes, do you realize what an insult that is? And I go, why? And he goes,
I'm your cameraman.
all I've done is film you doing shit. So if you haven't done shit, I haven't done anything with my life.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good point.
I have this thing of like, if I died now, like I'd be like, well, at least there was still potential. You know what I mean? Be like, oh yeah, it's some potential. You know,
I died. Here, I got this beer sponsor. Let's see if this works.
Okay, cool. But you know, like, oh, my best friend and writing partner Burns had a good point the other day. He goes, never try your hardest, because what if it sucks? He's like, what if you find out you're not any good? So I always give it 80%. And I was like, that is the saddest yet good advice I've ever gotten.
It's sad. It's not good advice.
No, it's terrible advice.
That is the what's going on with the majority of comics.
Of comedy. Yeah, no, dude, if you pay money to come to my show, I'm going to try my fucking hardest. Places I won't are showcase shows. Like here in LA, I'm working on shit. Yeah. But if you paid money and you got a babysitter, I'm giving you 1,000,000%.
Oh yeah. I was in a flight, not to harp on these drinking stories, but I have so many drinking stories.
Sure.
I was in a flight in a helicopter in New Zealand.
See, that's what you got. Yeah, you got all these. This is great.
Oh, that's what the thing about if I died to tomorrow in a plane crash, I've lived the greatest life you could ever imagine. I would have liked to have finished my tour next year. I'd like to die at the end of that. Sure. But personally,
maybe watch your daughter.
Well, yeah, obviously I'd like to watch my daughters get married and all that. But I mean, also just after the tour. And so
let's get them on tape.
Yeah. So, but I was in a helicopter. We were flying over. I think it's called Glass Lake or whatever. I don't know. It's this huge fucking lake in New Zealand, in Queenstown. And
it's like Christown or in Queensland. Who knows?
And so I say to the guy,
Christchurch in Queensland.
Is that what it is?
I think Christchurch is one of them. I don't know
why.
You were
just there, right?
I was just in Tasmania.
Oh, Tasmania's. I heard
it was fun as fuck.
I said to Segura, I was like, I kind of want to go do a tour there. Just knowing what Nanette said about it, I think those guys would really like me.
Oh, see, I never watched Nanette.
It's good.
Yeah, my only qualm, and this is not against that at all. and I have a problem with watching comedy specials in general.
Oh, I like them.
Well, I was just like, and this is maybe people will get pissed at me, but I was like, if you're telling me I got to watch something because it's important, not because it's funny, I'm already coming at it with a different angle.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's my own insecurities. But I'm just like, I was told by too many people that I need to, and I'm like, well, now I'm not going to because I've been told to. If I found it, I would have loved it. But Tasmania is dope. It's like the most. It's like I feel like Australia 60 years ago.
Whoa.
I mean, because it's really like Australia feels kind of like Southern California a little bit. Tasmania does not.
Really?
It's not. It's because it's where if you were a convict, you were sent to Australia, and then if you didn't stop convicting, they put you in Tasmania. So that's all those people there. They're awesome.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool as hell.
Anyway, we're flying in a helicopter over this fucking lake, and it's a long flight. And I tell the guy we're at the place getting ready to take off, and I say to the guy, you know what? I would love to have a cocktail before this. And he was like, I'd rather you didn't. And I said, oh, because normally I'd like to take a cocktail with me, really.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was. You were like, I was lowballing you.
Yeah. And I was like, oh. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just bring a water bottle and, whatever.
Yeah.
I guess,
sure. I'll just
get some fluids.
I'm going to bring a Gatorade.
And so I grab this water bottle. I fill it with ice. I fill it with Jack, right?
Yeah.
Load it up to the top of Jack. We start flying, and I am putting it back. I'm putting it back before the flight, and we're over the lake, and I am murdering it. And we got my two travelers and the pilot, and we're all wearing headsets, and all of a sudden I hear, this is a super small aircraft. I definitely can smell the Jack. And I went, sorry. And he goes, I thought I told you not to bring that. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't going to happen, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, no quick movements. Just don't kill us. And I was like, I'm not going to kill anyone.
Wait, were you flying it?
No. But the whole fear is if you get drunk and freak out that you could just go, fuck this. And you fuck. They don't want, it's such a small thing.
I see what you mean. I was like, wait, okay, I agree with him if you were about to fucking pilot it.
Dude, I've had so many helicopters. I don't think I've ever had a sober helicopter flight. I had one in Brazil where we went up to the Kreischer the Redeemer, which is fucking high as shit.
Yeah.
And the guy took us out, like went up to Kreischer the Redeemer, circled it, and then stayed parallel to it and just went back out over the city and hung out there. Stayed still in a helicopter, hovering at like what, fucking 10,000 feet? Just staying still. And I was like, are we doing this for a reason? No fucking English. No English. I'm like, can we go? And he's like, okay, yep. Jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, he just says jiu-jitsu and
God.
That's nuts. See, here's what I think. You get to do this, which is amazing. What I do think being an engineer for 4 years and having 10 days vacation a year for 4 years made me realize is how incredibly lucky we are to be comedians and what have you not, because like that's why I want to take advantage of everything and travel and camp as much as I can, because most people only get 10 days a fucking year to themselves.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We are in the like 1% of the world that gets to be like, you know what? I'm going to take fucking June off. You know what I mean? Yeah. We are so lucky, and you took advantage of it. I take advantage of it. I get so mad at my comedian friends who don't. Yeah. Like, another weekend here?
You're like Ari. Ari loves that shit.
Me and Ari get along so well over that shit.
You guys are identical. He texted me yesterday, and he was like, we're all going skiing for like a week in January. And he's like, I really appreciate, I don't want it to go unspoken, but I really appreciate that with your schedule being what it is, you're taking time to hang out with friends. And I was like, well, yeah, if I don't, like, I can't just hang out with my family. Right. If I just hang out with my family, then I don't have life stories. I don't have stories. I need to hang out with friends.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's cool. Yeah, and Ari and I get along well over our lack of funny Instagram. Like we both like. I was like, I like how you care and you take photos, and he's like, yeah, like you have photos, like we're like, because everyone else is like, check out my butt, like, and I'm like, no, I'm like, a different art form.
Yeah, it's not I love Instagram. Someone just told me about this new thing, Cameo, and then immediately everyone was like, do not fucking do Cameo.
I don't know what Cameo is.
Cameo is like this video you do shout outs for money.
Oh, I know what that is.
And I was like, and I signed up for it, and then immediately everyone's like, dude, take it down.
No. That's like some Real Housewives shit, man.
Yeah, that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, you can't do that shit. That's
exactly
that's
what
when you don't got any other money rolling in. If you still got money rolling in, you don't need to be on that shit.
That's what my agent said to me. The guy who wants the money was like, do not do that.
No, you can't do that shit.
So I had to take my profile down.
But I really like photography, so I liked Instagram just as a different tool than I'm like, I don't have to be funny on this if I don't want to. I can just.
Wait, what's your Instagram?
It's just my name. It's just Brooks Wheelan. But you don't have to look it up at all right now, but it's just like fun. I like photography. And like I get my agent's like, you don't promote enough. And I'm like, well, I don't want to bug my fans, but what are you going to do? I don't even know what I've been up to. I haven't traveled in a few weeks. So.
You got new shoes.
Oh no, I had to retire some shoes.
Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah. I retired my shoes, but yeah, it's a lot of like Tasmanian shit in there. It's fun, but it's like stuff that I like, that like Ari digs and stuff.
64,000 followers.
Sure.
Compared to your girlfriend, what do you think she has?
She's millions.
Really?
Yeah. Of course. She really does. Yeah.
So wait, what's interesting is like in talking to you and not knowing any of this, you seem like a type A personality.
What is that?
You like seems like someone who went to school, was good at taking notes, was good at studying.
No, I'm really good at test taking.
What do you mean?
I could miss every class and learn that class in like a 12-hour night session.
Really?
Yes. So I could learn everything, then forget it after the test. Really? So I've just like always been able to like figure it out. And I think that's what sucked about SNL so bad. It was the first thing I couldn't figure out. I couldn't figure it out.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was just like everything. I was like, I'll do this, and then it'll lead to this, and it'll lead to this, and it'll lead to this, and then until I got to like the thing that I was like, well, I don't know what to do, and it just didn't work out.
So what, when you look at your career, when you look at stand up, how does that apply to the way you approached medical, chemical, bioengineering?
Biomedical engineering. I mean, I think the thing I'm the most.
What are the parallels? Like where Well, the thing I'm the most proud of is like I can pull it together when I need to, it's just like biomedical engineering, like college, like I can pull it together. My roommates couldn't, you know what I mean? Like I'd be like, they'd spend all Sunday drinking, and I was like, Sundays when I go and lock myself in the engineering building, but I don't know, like really. And you could do that?
Yeah. Hungover as fuck. I needed to go read, so much shit and learn everything. And I was a tutor. I really lucked out. You dig this. I didn't luck out, but I got arrested for public intox when I was 20.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any money, and I didn't want my parents to know about it. So I got a job tutoring to make money. And then I would tutor the classes I was taking on purpose. So I would have to learn them and teach them to other people.
Really?
So that way that's how I would learn everything. 'Cause I would be like, all right, let's go through the book together. And then it would just be me learning the book at the same time.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was like me getting arrested is how I got through college, because I would need it money. It was like $700, and if you're 20, I sold every CD I had. I sold my PlayStation. Like I had like $40.
Really?
Yeah. So that's like how I got through that.
What was the arrest like?
Oh, I've deserved to be arrested. You know what I mean? And this was not one of those times.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh,
this was not one of those times.
I've deserved to be arrested. This is not. I had a buddy one time, we were driving, he was drinking, and he goes, I think like most of the time when you're drinking and driving, like 92% of the time, you're completely fine to drive. Like you can totally drive.
Sure.
And I said, yeah, I agree. And he goes, right now is that 8%.
Well, my best friend in college, when the bars would close at 2 and there was a casino like 10 miles away.
Yeah.
And he would I never had to drive drunk ever, because he did always. And he would we would take it on. He'd go, let's take her on a tester. And we would drive around the block in his
Take her on a tester.
in his shitty old BMW. I call it the world's worst BMW. But he was still like, it's a BMW. I'm like, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And then sometimes he'd be like, can't make it. And then we'd just wake up in the morning and it'd be parked across like 3 lanes. Like, I mean, because we lived in like this, not 3 lanes. It wasn't parked in the middle of the street, but it was parked like in the parking
3
lot.
parking spots.
Yeah, and we're like, ugh.
So when you got arrested, what was the?
It was Halloween. I was dressed like Ali G, and we were.
I thought you were gonna say Ali Wong.
Yeah. Well,
how progressive is that? You were dressed as Ali Wong.
I
before
mean, I
anyone knew
saw
Ali
the
Wong
future
was.
of how big she was going to be. And no, it was just it was cold. It was Iowa. Halloween is cold, and we were jogging home, and we jogged past a house that had just been robbed. We didn't, but so cops pull up with their cherries on, and me and my bud are like, we're 20, we're underage. We're like, fuck, So we split, and the cops grabbed him, and the other one tackled me. But I grew up like wrestling, so I can get away from shit. So I didn't wrestle per se, but I just like got away. It was like, get off of me. No way.
Yeah.
And I'm white, so they're not going to just shoot at me, which is dope. And I ran and got away and fucked up. I jumped over a fence and fucked up my chin on a bird bath. It was terrible. But then I got back to my apartment. I was bragging that I had just escaped from the cops, but I didn't know where my bud was. I won't say his name because he's an asshole. But knock on the door. I answer. It's the cops. He told him where I lived. So they arrest. I got public intox and then interference with official acts, like not assault or anything, but still super expensive. Had to go to jail. Not fun.
Oh, they took you to jail from right there?
Yeah. Well, they took me to the house to be like, is this the guy who robbed the house? And they're like, no, he wasn't dressed like Ali G. And I was like, see, misunderstanding.
And the guy's like, yeah, you still
back to home, please. And they're like, no. Yeah.
Fuck.
So either way, it's the most boring arrest story, but it like led me to needing money.
Yeah.
Cause my dad was like hardcore. He was like, I got a possession of alcohol under the legal age before that, like a week before that, which means I was just drinking beers outside. And my dad was like, if you get another one of those, I'm going to pull you out of college and you have to go to community college, in my hometown. And I was like, what? I'm doing all right.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't make any sense.
I'm a biomedical engineer, and you want me to go do what? So I couldn't tell him. So I had to go make money.
You couldn't tell him. You're like, I want a career, and I don't want to just ruin my life.
Yeah, I mean, it scared me enough to never tell them. They probably know about it now. I've talked about it, but
what were your parents like? Were they like typical Midwest?
Yeah, they're cool. They're from Missouri. I don't know. My brothers all wrestled. We all grew up wrestling. He loves baseball. I'm named after Brooks Robinson.
Yeah.
My brother's named after George Brett. Dad likes third baseman. He would like take us to like baseball card shows and like pawn us off on these, icons. To be like, hey, his name is Brooks too. And then get fucking signatures. I don't know.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and then my mom's chill. She's a normal lady who worries too much.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. What about yours? What are your parents like?
They're, my dad is a really sweet-hearted man, but does not get my personality at all. And my mom gets it too much. Like she and I couldn't do anything wrong in that woman's eyes, no matter what. But I think my dad, he never understood me, and he still doesn't understand me.
Sure. Yeah. I think once I got on SNL, they were like, okay, I guess comedy's okay, but it took until then.
I called my dad one time, and I had a TV show, and I had a development deal, and I had a development deal the year before, and I had all this money, and I said, well, what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, it was like the first time I ever talked to my dad as like not an equal, but
right.
He's like, I don't know, man. I've never made that much money. And I was like, huh? And he was like, I mean, I've made money, but I've never made that much at once. I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, he's like, I guess you just listen to your agents and managers.
That's great. Yeah.
And to this day, I mean, I think we had a conversation towards the end of my run of Travel Channel. We were at our beach house, and I was saying, I just hope Bert the Conqueror gets picked up. I hope I can do another show with them. And my dad's like, really? And I said, yeah. And I've talked about this one moment more probably than anything on the podcast, but Bill and Joe had kind of pulled me aside and said, your show's not that great. You're a better comic than you are a Travel Channel host. Just do your podcast and do stand up, and I think you'll be a lot happier than like spending all this time on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I went and made 3 short travel shows. It's not shooting fun things is hard.
Oh yeah,
because you got to mic up. You got to fucking. It's not just on the fly. It's not like go have fun. We'll get it.
Oh, we were shooting 18-hour days at
times. It's really hard.
And I was saying to my dad, I was like, my friend said this, but you know what? And my dad a long time ago, my dad had said to me, I'd gotten a gig with the Jameson Comedy Tour, and my dad was like, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to take it. My dad's like, it's $5,000 a weekend. And I was like, I know, but money's not important, Dad. They're trying to tell me what to say, and I'm an artist. And my dad said to me something that stuck with me to a flaw. He said, buddy, you have 2 kids. Eat shit and cash checks. Eat shit. That's what a man does. A man eats shit and cashes checks. And I said to my dad that day on the beach, I was like, at the beach house, I go, hopefully I just, they pick it up. And he's like, is that what you want to do? And I was like, no, I mean, I'd love to do stand-up, but, eat shit and cash checks. And my dad started crying.
Oh, man.
He was like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
I fucked up, man. He was like, I fucked up, Bert. I fucked you up. He was like, I was just saying that's the way I lived my life. Like, you're different than me.
Yeah.
And he was like, listen, he's like, if you don't take... And I had already talked to my therapist. My therapist was like, you need to go into the Travel Channel meeting. And when they ask you what you want to do, don't be a company man. Tell them what you want to do. Tell them you do not want to ride roller coasters anymore. And so I told my dad that. My dad's like, buddy, if you're ever going to roll the dice on yourself, now's the chance. You're like 40. I think I was 42 or 43. And he was like, now's the chance to roll the dice on yourself.
Yeah, so he'd had enough life experience. He wasn't worried about you anymore. You know? I think that parents are just worried about us. They're like,
oh, hey, I'm worried about my kids.
Yeah.
I'm terrified for them just on little stuff like going to school, making friends. And
yeah. I mean, like my dad, I remember, I'm sure he doesn't remember, but I remember, like that's what I have to tell my brothers. I was like, I remember everything mom and dad ever said to us. So you need to know what you say to your 7 and 8 year olds because they were going to remember that. But I had a job offer to go back to Chicago for that internship, to go full-time engineering there. And I didn't want to go back to Chicago because I was like, that's not where it's going to happen for me. I'm going to have to go to New York or LA anyway.
Yeah.
So I turned it down without any other job prospects. And my dad was he's like, you don't turn down money. You don't turn down a great opportunity like that. Because this is an amazing company, but I just didn't want to live there. And I'm so lucky I did turn it down,
Oh yeah, we're the gateways to millennials.
Sure.
I mean, you're probably a millennial.
I don't know. I went to. I don't think so. I don't know what I am, man. I guess technically, I look at my phone too much, but I think everyone does now.
I saw Whitney has an app that tells her to get off Instagram.
That's great. That's important.
I find depression to be connected directly with my effect on my phone.
Yes, 100%. Also, you need to remember, like, you can go scroll through your Instagram and be like, look how happy my life is and look how not happy I really am. That's the same way with everybody, and I'm comparing myself to their happiest moments.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I need to remember that everybody is going through their own things.
I feel the best when I haven't touched my phone in a little bit.
That's why I love camping, man. I love getting completely to where I don't have it, and I have, like, a nice camera that I love, which is actually kind of a funny story. So I'm obsessed. I love this camera that I have called, it's a Leica M. And it's like, the most expensive thing I bought besides a car.
Yeah.
But the day I went to go, I would go to the store, like the movie Christmas Story. It's in Soho. And I would go and I would just look at them and I'd like play with them and I'd talk about which one I was going to get one day. And I went in there one day and ran into Jason Sudeikis. And this is when I'm still on SNL. And he's really nice and we have mutual friends. It's the first time we met. He's the fucking best. And he's like, hey, man, how's it going? O'Brien says nice things. I was like, same thing here, man. I'm a big fan, giant fan. He's like, yeah, same. Really kind and nice. And then he's like, what are you doing? You going to get a camera? I'm like, I just like looking at him. And he's like, oh, you should, come on, man. You're going to have the same money tomorrow as today, right? And I was like, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
You're going to have the same money tomorrow as today?
Yeah. It was like,
oh, what a fucking cool dude.
What a cool dude. So I was like, fuck it. Today's the day. Let's do this. He's like, all right, man. Bought it. Got fired from Saturday Night Live the next day.
You should have called him like,
no, he was so nice. He was like, I didn't. You shouldn't have listened to me, man.
Clearly, I didn't know.
You shouldn't have listened. So nice, but yeah, I had to take it back and.
For real?
I needed that money to move back. I needed that money for a car.
Oh fuck! You had to take the camera back.
Yeah, but here's the cool thing.
Oh fuck!
But then once I got my shit back together enough, I went in and rebought the camera with non-SNL money and just straight stand-up money and acting money. I was like, I earned this camera. I'm going to appreciate it so much more now. It took like a year and a half, but yeah, it was like that. Like, I don't even know how we got in that story, but it was just like now it means so much more than just getting it on that whim. Like,
what kind of camera did you get?
It's just called a Leica M. It's great. It's just, it takes really cool photos. But I guess what I'm saying is I like to go out into the desert and the mountains and shoot on that and like just not have my phone on.
Yeah. Sadly, my wife, we're going on a trip soon. And, Leanne's like, we should bring no phones. And I was like, well, that's not going to happen. I mean, I'm like, yeah, I'm just too tied to it. I have to do it. And she was like, well, yeah, I mean, you don't have to. You can definitely not bring it. And I was like, and she goes, and if you bring yours, the girls will bring theirs.
Right.
And wouldn't it be better if we just did the whole week? Like we went skiing and she was like, no phones. And I was like, don't you want video of this trip?
Right.
Like, I mean, it's the girl's first ski trip. And she was like, okay, phones. And then, of course, I found an app that told you how fast you ski. And I'm on my phone I get down to the bottom, whip my phone out, and I'm like, 34 miles per hour. Like,
oh, it's so fun. Yeah, turn everything into a game. Plus when you're skiing, Santino loves snowboarding. Santino's really good at snowboarding. And so I'll go with him sometimes. And like, you're in your own fucking Cool Borders video game.
Oh yeah.
You put on cool music. You're slicing down the mountain. Super fun.
Smoke a little bit of a
little weed. Well, I
Johnny.
can't. I'm so bad at weed. Like when I smoke it, I'm like, all right, this is where we're staying. Like I'll just ride the chairlift all day if I smoke weed and just
really.
Like, yeah, I can't. I'm like, I'm not moving.
Oh, I like a little bit of weed to feel loose and then confident. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're going down, you're on your toes, screaming down a mountain, listening to Jane's Addiction.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah.
And then, oh, dude, but it's beautiful sober too. It's beautiful with a little bit of a beer buzz.
100%. Okay, let's talk about music. What's your favorite? Because you've seen, I'm sure, a ton. What's your top 3 concerts?
Number one, number one's,
number one is usually an early concert because it meant more? Or is this not the case?
The best concert I've ever seen live, personally, was Modest Mouse.
Really?
They were phenomenal. I mean, it was almost like they were playing on a fucking track. Like it was so.
Where was it at?
At the Hollywood Bowl,
okay,
or maybe the Greek. One or the other. It was probably the Greek. It was so fucking amazing.
That's great. Are you a big fan?
At the time, I was a huge fan.
Okay.
Every time I've ever seen Wilco, it's been like fucking.
I slept on Wilco so hard because this is such a classic story. I loved Pearl Jam, and a kid I didn't like hated Pearl Jam but loved Wilco. So I was like, Wilco sucks. And then I heard Yankee Hotel Foxtrot in its entirety, as opposed to just Jesus, etc. or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is the best band ever.
This is the best band ever.
Yeah, that album's so good. Okay, but go on.
No, Wilco.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I have a newfound love of Wilco.
Wilco is so good, and every now and then I'll be like, and now having said those two, I saw one time we went to the Meadowlands to watch Dave Matthews. I'm sure it was Dave Matthews, and Beck opened up for him.
I had no idea Beck was as great as Beck was until he did SNL, because I just knew him as choking on a splanter.
Yeah.
Loser.
Yeah. Dude, his show.
He's an angel. He's got an angel voice.
Black velvet tux and a piano with a slide going to the stage, and he'd play the piano and then slide down the stage on his feet and then grab the mic and dance. Dude, I think that was Odelay that would have been
Odelay.
I haven't listened to Beck in forever. And I was like rediscovering a band when you get on a plane and going, this last plane flight, I rediscovered Radiohead. And I was like, dude, Karma Police might be the greatest song ever. Fucking.
Also, your emotions are jacked on that plane.
Dude, hardcore.
Morning Phase is my favorite Beck album. So that was the one thing I have no problem talking about ever is the musical guests on SNL.
Odelay. Was why Beck was a musical guest? Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, he came on, and I only knew him as the fucking loser guy, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was doing a rewrite, and I just heard like, oh, and I was like, that's Beck. So I did a deep dive. It gave me musical appreciation for every form, every genre.
What's your favorite Beck album?
Morning Phase. It's real chill. I
bought that.
It's the one that he like won the Grammy over Beyonce, and people went bananas. But I'm like, it's great. They're both good. Who cares about who got that one? They're both doing fine.
Beck was a great one, top 5, and then I saw Hank 3 live.
Ooh.
And with my whole Trip Flip crew, I got everyone tickets.
Talk about Mason. No, never mind. Go on.
No,
Sorry.
what were you gonna say?
Mason Jennings, but he's not Hank Williams third.
Yeah.
But it was just made me thinking. Also, Modest Mouse does this musical soundtrack for this really great documentary called 180 Degrees South, which is a documentary where this guy he goes and follows in the footsteps of the two dudes who created Patagonia and the North Face. These rock climbers. Yeah. It's on Netflix. It's so good.
I'm downloading it now.
It'll give you like wanderlust so bad. Just like watching this documentary and be like, what am I doing? I gotta take off. But either way, that just made me think of that.
What's it called? 180 degrees?
180 degrees south. It's about this trip to Chile that the guys who, because this is like in the 70s or whatever, where the climbers had to make their own shit.
Yeah.
And then they started selling it and making it for other climbers, and that's how Patagonia and the North Face got started.
180 degrees south. It's not coming up.
Yeah, it's like 180. Yeah, it's I'll send it to you. It's great.
Last band that really fucking blew me away. Oh my God. I saw Nirvana.
You did?
I saw Nirvana. I don't really remember it.
That was...
It was during my ecstasy phase.
Sure. Yeah, that's a fun
I think we took either mushrooms or ecstasy that night, and they had the cross that was on.
Yeah.
By the way, this is such a shitty recollection.
This is In Utero, so they're doing the In Utero record.
This is gonna sound fucking so not true, but I think Smashing Pumpkins opened for them.
There was a tour that it was Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, and Pearl Jam, but they were all intermixed. I know Billy Corgan and Kurt didn't get along because Courtney Love had dated Billy Corgan.
Yeah. All I remember is the stage was set up that it was like, this is, by the way, heavy drug use. The cross was in the center. The cross from In Utero or whatever. What was the one where the Rape Me was on?
Yeah, In Utero.
Is that In Utero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like one of my favorite bands.
The cross was on. Kurt was on to the left, and then Chris Novoselic was on the right, and Dave Grohl was off to the side of the cross. And I don't remember them moving much. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. By that time, they're too big. They're like not handling it. You know what I mean? They're like, let's just get up there. We're not going to play. We're not going to play. Never mind. We're not going to play.
Tallahassee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
it wasn't. Never mind. What I'm trying. They're not going to smell like. They're not going to play. Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Dude, I go into. Wait, did you go? You were a big Nirvana fan?
Well, I was not. I was born in '86, so they were. I was 8 when he killed himself. But my brother was massive Nirvana, Pearl Jam, all that stuff, and like, I like Pearl Jam because I've seen him live so many times that it really transferred.
I've never seen Pearl Jam live. I don't think
it'll like kind of change your point of view on a la Bruce Springsteen. I thought Springsteen was whatever and fine.
I saw Springsteen live and I didn't enjoy it.
You didn't? I thought it was like fucking soul shattering. I loved it.
I was like, this is great. I go, how long is he doing?
4 hours.
Yeah, and I was like, hey man, my feet are tired as fuck.
Yeah.
When's he gonna play Born to Run?
No, you don't even know. He might not even get to it.
It was. I went in LA with my buddy John Moore.
Wait, how long ago?
This is fucking. Well, I mean, I say recent. Within the last
2 years.
No.
Okay.
Probably 5.
Okay, because I went on a second date with a girl he played The River in its entirety. Like, this is like 3 years ago. And I was like, this is a terrible second date. Like, I love Springsteen, but sprinkle in some Some hits, man.
I still
love that show, by the way.
I love how I turned this podcast into you interviewing me about my favorite concerts.
No, but I love music, and it's so like I am just fascinated with other people from different age ranges, what they got to see versus,
Well, my first concert ever was Whitney Houston with the Beach Boys.
Okay.
That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Then
mine was Chili Peppers. Foo Fighters opened for them.
Whoa.
And Chili Peppers, growing up, favorite band of all time. I have a Red Hot Chili Peppers tattoo I got when I was 17. And I was like, I'll never not love them. And I still think they're great. And I see Flea around my neighborhood all the time, and he's a really nice guy. But I'm like, yeah, I kind of grew out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The person I've seen the most probably is Dwight Yoakam.
Really?
My wife is obsessed with Dwight Yoakam.
Okay.
Like,
have you seen Tales from the Tour Bus?
Oh
God, I'm gonna text you this. This is the biggest. I'm not affiliated with the show at all, but it is just Mike Judge made this really great behind the music, but for old country stars. So it's the first one's Johnny Paycheck, and it's George Jones, and it's fucking like who's the dude who married his cousin? Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah, it's just great. I'm just saying, your wife, and you should watch this
Tales
show.
from the Tour Bus.
Yeah, it's on Cinemax, which Tales from the Tour Bus on Cinemax sounds like a porno.
Yeah,
It's not. It's a really dope little documentary series about old country western stars being fucking Looney Tunes.
Dude, I took one of the first times I took an edible, probably maybe ever. I don't even know if I had taken one before then. We went down to I think it was the Music Hall of Fame down in the music thing down in the Sony Center, down by the Staples Center, and we went in, and it was a private theater performance by Dwight Yoakam, and he played acoustic just by himself, and he played all these songs, and I was high as fuck. I knew you couldn't drink in there. Mm-hmm. We probably got a couple glasses of wine, and he played this song called the 12-minute reprise, I guess, or something. I forget.
Somebody will know. I don't know.
Yeah, and it floored me,
right.
And I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I could hear every lyric getting sent to me. And I was like, "Wow."
That's how, dude. I get it. Like whenever I'm high, I told like my ex one time we were at like some concert in New York, and it was all great, and I was like, "Each song's a play," like. But that was by far the best part. The thing I love and will forever be so appreciative from Saturday Night Live was Thursday, the band rehearsal. So you could see the biggest band on the planet that week perform to 15 sound guys as hard as they can go because they're doing the blocking.
Yeah.
And I would just have lunch, and my girlfriend at the time worked down on like the first floor, and we would just have lunch and watch Beck rehearse, the Black Keys rehearse, Arcade Fire, fucking the Kids, One Direction, it was just like, oh, I get it. It was so fun. It was so like, that was the coolest. Those Thursday lunches were like, I was like, my life's stupid.
Yeah.
I love music more than anything. This is the coolest thing on the planet.
What's the best concert you've ever seen?
Oh shit. That's Springsteen concert was pretty good. The one I saw he play like down in Anaheim because he shit on Disneyland. I thought that was funny just to hear Springsteen be like, "Oh, Disneyland stinks," and I was like, "That's pretty funny." But like, nothing will beat seeing the Red Hot Chili Peppers when I was a sophomore in high school in Iowa, like because I was like, they're real people, because they don't seem like real people until you can see them, and that's when my older brother went into cool older brother mode.
Yeah,
because he knows, he's like, Chili Peppers fans aren't tough, and he's wrestling in college, and he's just like, grab the back of my shirt. And he just were in the front row in like 2 minutes. And it was so cool. But like emotion wise, the National, which you think would be kind of slow.
Yeah.
Those guys give it.
Really?
They were super rad. Yeah.
It's funny because some bands like I thought Cold War Kids was going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. And you get there and you realize, they're a studio band.
Right.
And so they're all sitting in chairs.
Yeah. I'd say the first time I ever saw the Black Keys, they were doing Lollapalooza in Chicago, and they were opening for the Raconteurs. And I didn't know who the Black Keys were, let alone that it was only two people.
Yeah.
And so when I saw two people making that much noise, I was like, this is fucking breaking my face right now. Yeah.
Dude, I saw Billy Bragg. You know who he is?
Oh yeah. I mean, I know who Will.
Yeah. Obviously, I saw Billy Bragg by himself, just an electric guitar, and just fucking. Halston's chomping at the bit. So, what's your favorite fucking? No, because Halston's a guitarist.
Oh yeah,
and really into music. Best concert, Halston.
Aerosmith.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Were you at the Home Depot when Steven Tyler took over the mic?
No.
I'm joking. Do you know he really did that?
What?
Steven Tyler was all fucking whacked out one time and at a Home Depot. He just started screaming "Sing On," like "Dream On" into one of their fucking.
Shut up.
Yeah, and they let him sing like 3 songs, and then he was in rehab like a week later. But
Oh fuck! Wait, where did you see him?
yeah, sorry.
I saw him at the Tacoma Dome. It was just like I was prepared to go in there and just sing with him and just really be a fan, but I just stood there with my mouth open.
Yeah,
and I just like took it in, and the relationship between him and Joe Perry was I felt magic, and I haven't really felt magic with too many artists.
Sure.
Aerosmith, yeah, that's my favorite experience.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Drugs can add to it. I saw Widespread Panic one time at a campground,
Drugs make everything great.
and we all took mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And we took them, and my buddy Obi and his girlfriend, I think her name was Jenny, had just gotten back together, and they were talking for the first time, and we had all taken mushrooms. They all started to kick in. Widespread Panic was getting ready to start playing, and there's like 30 of us, and we all knew that they had had a rough breakup, and they go to talk, and they're like, give each other a hug. And I go, everybody, Obi and Jenny are back together. A wop bomb a loom op, a wop
Yeah.
bam boom. And all of a sudden, Widespread Panic starts playing, and we all run to the stage to go see, and a fucking, literally, and this could have been the hallucinogens, a night cloud. Like a cloud, it was a storm cloud is coming at us, but it looks like night is running at us. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that was one of the coolest fucking drug experiences I've ever fucking had.
That's great. You know, I took mushrooms and saw. Have you ever? I doubt either of you guys have. This band Cage the Elephant puts on some fucking nuts live.
I
shows.
love Cage Elephant.
Have you seen them live? Oh, it's next level shit.
Really?
Like, the guy is like the best front man going right now. And like,
Really?
we took mushrooms and saw him, and like, he's like climbs out into the crowd, stage dives. Like, I saw him at Terminal 5 and he stage dove off the second balcony. Like crazy shit like that, where it's like, whoa, man, this is dope. Like, but it's just like on shrooms seeing that guy at Bonnaroo, because I got to do Bonnaroo one time, and it was like the most fun. I like doing festivals because you get to just see all these bands. You're like, I don't know if I'd pay full ticket price for this band, but like if you're there, fuck yeah.
Dude, this last time we saw Action Bronson at Clusterfest. That was fun. We saw another.
I saw Action Bronson at Sasquatch. I was backstage. He got off. You know how sometimes you think like in between the end and the encore, they're probably doing a shot.
Yeah.
He ate a bowl of dumplings. I was like, dude, man, you're eating dumplings?
He went into the crowd, lit a joint, and just sat in one of the chairs in the thing, smoking a joint, singing his lyrics. Gave the mic to another guy. He sang his lyrics. It was great. But the coolest thing about that, which was like one of those like just revitalizing times in my life, was Jon Stewart. This is recent. This was like a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago. Jon Stewart got up and did stand-up for like maybe 20,000 people. And, dude, 20,000 people, everyone was silent and listening. And I was like, I'm sitting off to the side and someone's next to me and they go, that's how important stand-up is. Like, I mean, like maybe 10,000, maybe 5,000 people watch Action Bronson.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart, in the way where our country is, everyone's just on his every fucking word.
I mean, he's like the Obama of that time. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to Trevor Noah, but Daily Show's not. You're not going to be what Jon Stewart was to the Daily Show.
It's hard because
it was his show. Yeah. This is no knock on him. I'm just saying Jon Stewart was. So he just can't, like, that to just disappear like that. When you show back up, people are excited,
dude. And I think there's a big backlash of Americans not liking people with accents telling us about our political system.
Well, I mean, I'm open for John Oliver, and I say people love that fucking guy.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Yeah,
he's like one of my close buds. Who, when I'm really feeling down, he's like, you got to keep going, man. You know, like,
yeah.
But like, I don't know what I think it's just like holding on to what was happening during the Obama, maybe. Like, I don't know, because he still has so much respect because he took over for John.
Yeah.
When John left for a little bit, Stewart.
Yeah.
And then went and did HBO. So I don't know what it is, but he doesn't have that. Also, he's not, maybe it is the fact that he's white.
It's like, I remember one time getting in a fight when George W. Bush was getting elected the second time, right? He got elected twice.
Yes, he did.
And so the second time he was running for election, I was at dinner, and I thought this was going to be a bit. I didn't realize what a meathead it turned me into. And this girl was
I had one of these. I know what you're about to do, and I guarantee I did one too recently.
Where the girl was British, and she was just raving on about our election and our president. And I said, why do you care? It's not your president. She goes, shut up, Alexa. And she goes, why do I care? Why do I care? I go, you don't hear me sticking my nose into your... I don't know that one. Alexa, stop. I go, you don't hear me sticking my nose into your election of your group of elders, whoever decides when
I hate
Carnival will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she got really pissed. And then you started realizing, our election affects everybody.
Sure. Yeah. And like Brexit's bad, but I goofed up and needed to learn my spot because we're used to hanging out with comedians.
Yeah.
And I went with Grace one time to the Streamies, which is a award show for internet creators. And it's great. And it's a huge platform. And, but I'm used to everybody knowing everything I say is bullshit.
Yeah.
And they were like, Donald Trump's the president. I go, fucking right. Like,
yeah,
obviously joke in a room of 300 people who don't know who I am. And, I was her new boyfriend. She's like, really like, don't be a meathead. That's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not. And then learning now, like, yeah, it's not funny. But like at the time I was like, yeah, it'll be funny if I'm the one pro Trump guy here.
Dude,
but,
I got a big silent fucking reaction last night. I had a joke about my wife. The point is my wife didn't like the way I was responding to Trump's tweets. So my wife reads them in outrage, and I read them like a black guy watching a slam dunk contest. Like, sure. Oh shit!
I mean, that's and it's just tough. It like we can do it in L.A. and New York, but like here's what I learned when I headline: these people want a fucking night off. Like, don't get into it. Because like I used to argue, there's two Trumps. Like there's the one that is me, and I don't. If I'm alienating fans, I've lost a bunch of followers just by doing this type of shit. But there's like the Trump that is mean, and like we are going to put kids in cages. We're going to separate them from their family. That is bad, and fuck everybody. And then there's also the Trump that is just stupid, who's like LeBron is dumb. The day LeBron opens a school, and I'm just like, that's the Trump that makes me laugh. Like the one that's like, come on, man. You can't call a guy dumb the day he opens his school. You bozo. Yeah. Like there's like a harmless one that makes me laugh. And then there is the bad one.
Yeah. It's, there is like when he goes, clearly SNL's been dying since the day one. It's not funny anymore. It's never like when he comments like a regular human being. Yeah. I just giggle so hard. I'm like, you watch SNL? I thought you were a president, bro.
No, it's 100% whenever he is just kind of like you're like, what are you doing, man? Come on, that's funny.
Let me tell you, I stay away from politics, but I will tell you, I have people that come to my shows that voted for him, and I have people that come to my shows that didn't.
Oh yeah, I learned that the hard way of like, oh, okay, I was doing great, and then what happened at the 28-minute mark?
Yeah.
And then I listen back. I'm like, oh, yeah, you talk about how you don't like Trump. And if you vote for Trump, you don't care if they like your show. Oh, yeah, it's going to alienate 40% of this
Because
crowd.
Here's the common denominator. Every single one of those people liked you. They came in to see you.
That's what I'm saying. It's alienating them. So now I talk about how my dad and I differ on political beliefs.
That's fine. I think you can do that. I think
because I make fun of myself for mine. I make fun of my dad for his. Yeah.
As long as you own it and go, I believe, and say, you just have to. You have to be rational, just rational. But even sometimes that doesn't work. I guess it's tough.
But I've learned to like respect people who come to my show more than trying to be like a fucking crusader who's like, I don't care if I do well. I just want to say, like, because that's even more annoying.
So you look at the people online and you're like, man, you're preaching a lot of politics for a fucking 32-year-old.
Yeah.
Part of me goes like, I'm 46. Like I get that you're passionate, and that passion's awesome, and that's what makes this country better. But one of the things I've learned is that you got to respect other people.
You have to respect. That's what I talk about. Is like, I respect that my dad has a different opinion than me, and he voted for someone else. My dad does not have that same feeling.
No, that's the other
that's
problem.
That's what I mean. I'm like, that's what I say. I was like, you need to understand that there's different points of view are completely acceptable.
As many people, we should wrap this up soon and get you out so you can go get some rest before your pitch.
Sure.
But equally amount of people.
Just understand why people do things. I feel like there's very few people who maliciously enjoy one way or the other. And I
think there are. I think there are a great deal online. I think online's massively overrepresented.
But I'm saying in general, the general population of the United States who votes for Donald Trump, like, and they are just fucking told they're wrong. Like,
I just killed this whole fucking keg myself.
They're not being malicious, is all I'm saying. It's just, there's no maliciousness behind it. Is what I like to hope.
I think there's maliciousness on those far fringe followers.
Exactly, that's what I mean. But that's like, I hope less than 2% of the United States.
I think so. I think way so. I mean, it's like when the Norm stuff went on, I looked and there were like 5,000 people are tweeting about this. And then I looked the other day, and then there were like some shit I didn't even know about, like something about Victoria's Secret. 3,000 people were tweeting about some. I don't know. Yeah. It was. I guess the CEO said something insensitive about transgendered individuals, and then Stan Lee dies. You're like 52 million people are talking. You're like, oh, that's a big issue.
Stan Lee, he played my dad in a Disney cartoon that's still going on.
Oh, for real?
He's my character's dad. Yeah.
His voice
in Big Hero 6. Yeah, he looks like him and everything.
For real?
Yeah. So I was like, well, my cartoon dad passed away.
Oh.
But I never met him. We're never in the same room. But like,
this is the level of outrage. Okay.
Okay.
Album of the year, 109,000 tweets. Ricky Skaggs, 1,000 tweets. Okay. Garth Brooks just performed on the CMAs and did a tribute to the shooting victims.
He's like gone crazy, right?
I think he has. Yeah, you asked Segura.
But I like old Garth Brooks. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 3,700 tweets. That's it. If you type in Bert Kreischer, this is how many people are tweeting about me right now.
Never.
350 people are tweeting about me today.
Do you ever go through that? Do you ever read that?
Yeah. No. Do I read tweets?
No, I'll like read at mentions, but I'm not typing my own fucking name in.
Oh no! I learned
that's the dark.
They used to have this thing called TweetDeck where you could type in your you could type in like different search engines and they'd come up in different angles. And I was like, oh, this is not fun. No. It was right when Bert the Conqueror came out, and someone's like, who's? I remember the tweet. I bet I could fucking find this exact tweet, and Bert Kreischer ass clown. And he goes, who's this
That's
ass
actually,
clown?
Was that your first album? That's a pretty good album.
It's not bad.
That's not a terrible album.
Bert, let's see if we're tight. Maybe.
But yeah, no, I learned like I don't need to see anything, man. I'm already anything that's like with the roast battles and stuff. They're like anything negative someone could say about me. I've said it way worse in my own head. You know what I mean? Like
sometimes they really know how to pair it up. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how did you know what I was thinking?
No, that's what I'm saying. I already think these things. I don't need to be told.
This I'm seeing if it comes up right now. But this guy tweeted me, and when I had TweetDeck, and I was like, pull these fucking tweets down. This is horrific. I don't read. I'll read.
I found it.
You did? What did it say? Who? Let me. I'm going to tell you what I remember it saying.
Okay.
Who the hell is this ass clown Bert the Conqueror? What's the tweet say?
Motherfuck that guy Bert. He's an ass clown begging for publicity.
Okay.
Wait, when was this?
I don't know.
2013?
It was an hour. It was an hour ago.
2016.
That's pretty fucking recent.
How often do you get ass clown?
I don't know. That's twice though.
Solid. I don't mind ass clown. Like if you, at least they know that you're a clown.
By the way, fuck that guy. I am looking for publicity. I want to sell tickets on my goddamn tour. I want people to know about me, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, no, that's how.
Fuck, I'm gonna reply to him now. I'm gonna reply to. So it's Bert.
That's how you win, Bert. Replying to negative things. That's.
God, by the way, I should have never.
I'm sorry. This was a reply to a tweet that you made about Gene Simmons, and they were saying at Bert Kreischer, fuck Gene Simmons, not. They were saying fuck that guy, Gene Simmons.
Oh, so you and Gene Simmons both ass clowns,
Yeah.
though.
I hope not as
He's
equally.
really popular.
He is.
He's
I
a
think
popular guy.
I have fucking ringworm from Isla.
You have ringworm? I never even got ringworm. Group wrestling.
Isla got it.
Isla got ringworm? Where's she hanging out?
Dude, it's the funniest fucking story. I've been telling it on stage, so not to like sell my joke down the river, so I'll just save it. But Isla got ringworm, and then proceeded to purposefully give it to all of us.
Oh, that's
it's super contagious, and I'm like, and fucking.
That's some keep an eye on her type stuff.
No, that's that fucking child. That is that child.
That's some
She thought it was so fucking funny. She was laughing so hard. Tag you now, you got it.
Yeah, boy.
But so you've got the show on All Things Comedy.
I got that show. I'm pitching a show in the morning that I really hope sells about
Scripted, non-scripted.
I'm all about scripted.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got that All Things Comedy thing. I'm like, I already like traveling. That's fun. But yeah, I moved to Los Angeles because of the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was like, if I go to New York, I'm going to go hardcore stand up. If I get a job in LA, I'm going to go hardcore trying to make It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
So I've just been chasing that shit. Scripted show pitching tomorrow. I really like. And then if that doesn't go, I already have the next show. Just pitching TV shows. I just want to make a show that I respect.
And we talked a little bit about your girlfriend Grace, but Grace, for those who know,
we're pitching a show together. But we're not dating, but we're still friends now.
Oh, really?
It's all good. She's like a person I really admire. She's great.
amazing.
She's amazing. Yes,
I did her podcast.
And I'm sure it fucking helped.
Oh yeah,
she's
a beast.
She's the best. I really, really admire her. She helped me in more than anyone ever in this lifetime, probably.
That's fucking great. She's an awesome person.
100%.
Check her out, Grace Helbig. But we've said Grace like 4 or 5 times.
Sure, yeah. When we're pitching the show together, she's the other lead in it.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, she's great. But yeah, pitching that, and then just trying to do a new fucking hour, and then I got a podcast about people's first jobs that you should be on if you ever want. It's called Entry Level, and it's just about all comedians. It's about the jobs that they had up until they got to quit. So because comedians are terrible at their jobs.
That's a great premise of just hearing about people's jobs. Bill Burr has some fucking great.
I'd love to have money. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you want to be a stand-up comedian and you know it, every job you've ever had has just been waiting until you could quit. So it's like a million funny I quit stories. It's great. Yeah, Al Madrigal he fucked with the wrong cook, joking with him, and got a knife put on his neck. One time, Al didn't go mow this lawn because he got too high, so the old lady had her husband do it, and he died of a stroke. And when Al came to the wake, the lady goes, "That's the boy." Yeah, just there's so many.
Great. Are you doing it with All Things Comedy?
Yeah, it's through All Things Comedy, and there's a million funny comedian stories just about how they were either fired or quit. Sean O'Connor's comes out this Monday, and he got fired from Best Buy because he worked in the same town as Bon Jovi. And Bon Jovi's dad came in and wanted a new TV, and Sean O'Connor goes, "Quit being so gay." And they were like, "You can't say that to Bon Jovi's dad, man."
Quit being so gay.
Yeah, because it's early 2000s. He's like, "I don't know, man, just stop being so gay about it." I don't know, it's really
Fuck.
funny.
So how many episodes have you done?
55. It's got a solid catalog. It's a lot of SNL. I did most of the cast SNL, so it's a bunch of fun guys like that. And then a bunch of comedians who, I mean, not that they're not comedians.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. If anything, the one thing that inspires all of us are when good dudes, and I say us comics,
sure,
good dudes do well. And I know that I've gotten a lot of support in the community with my recent success, and it's because people go, man, I like a good hero story. Sure. If they want to no one likes the fucking guy that gets everything given to him when he's 27 and then
that happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got everything real quick.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then it was taken away, and that's when people fall in love with you, and that's when you make your friends.
Yeah.
And then as you build yourself back up, that's when people endear themselves to you. And
sure.
I can tell you publicly and privately that when you went on stage that night in the belly room, And I was like, oh, Brooks Wheelan. I know that name. I think it was Segura with me, maybe.
And I love Tom. I remember seeing Tom open for Steve Byrne when I was living in Kansas City. And
Yeah.
he's the one who taught me you can just lean against a wall.
Yeah. He
And
still leans against. If theaters had walls, he'd
I'd
be
never
leaning
seen
against those.
I'd never seen a guy take as much time as him. And you know how I remember it, the feature act from when I was 20, it's 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember the opening line. Took like a minute to get to it. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
What was his opening line? Do you
He was
remember?
like, you know, when you're, and I don't even know Tom. I just know the story because I saw it and it blew me away. And he was just like, you know, when you're like hitting that crack pipe, and like that was just the opening line. I was like, this guy's hilarious.
Shane Torres told me a line he said that made me fucking die laughing.
And I'm sure I butchered it. It was 12 years ago. But.
No. But Tom and I were in the back, and Tom's like, oh shit, Brooks is the guy. He got fired from SNL. And I was like, oh, I remember seeing that in the trades. Like,
I tweeted fired from New York. It's Saturday night.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing that happened on that show for me.
Yeah. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, he's legit fucking funny.
That's really nice.
We sat in the back. I think you were doing Ari's storytelling show, maybe. Or maybe new material night.
Those are the only times I ever go up there.
And
nothing against the club. It's just when I get booked.
It was fucking awesome. And I was like, dude, it makes you feel good about yourself because you're like, you know that when someone can get knocked down and get back up, that I can get knocked down and get back up.
Right.
They're getting knocked down. So it's, and I'll say this out of school, but it's part of the reason the comedy community will always have Rogan's back. Is he did that shit against Carlos and said, this is bullshit. You don't steal. And everyone tried to take him down. His agent fired him. The store blocked him. He couldn't get anything. And he started his own podcast and worked his way back up. And everyone was like, fuck, it's the reason everyone loves Marin, man.
Yeah.
He had all the deals, had the heat when he was young, fucking disappeared, got sober, popped back up, and all of a sudden everyone's like, dude, everyone loves a hero story. And Brooks, I will tell you, from my mouth to your ears to God's ears, you are on your hero's journey.
That's very kind.
I can't wait to see where it takes you to.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I feel like I got a lot of respect after I put out my album. Listen to the album. It's called This Is Cool, right? And it's like one long story. It starts with when I decided I wanted to start doing comedy and then ends with me getting fired. But in not a storytelling form. It's just like the math. I did the math and did it right. It's good. That's the thing. Like after I put that out, I was like, okay, I'm a comedian. It wasn't SNL. It was that album. So check that out. It means a lot, Bert. And it's also cool to hang out here because like when I was 20, I just pulling a fucking GameCube down to Cedar Rapids from Iowa City to play games. And then you taught me as a headliner, then we can stop sucking each other's dicks, that like, oh, the headliner can hang out and be friends with the staff. Like, and that was,
they should.
well, but that's not the case a lot of times.
It's definitely not.
And like realizing that, I was like, this guy's awesome. I didn't think he'd even make eye contact. And you're like, how does this game work? And I was like, this guy's great. So either way, cool, small world.
Dude, I'm glad that our paths crossed then.
Yeah.
And are where they are now, man. Congrats, brother.
You too. I'm excited for this new hour.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, Bert.
Thank you, brother.